What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. And reserved for the best is super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at @6th_element_comics. Yeah, because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop. What's good, everybody? You are in the sixth element of hip hop. This is the right place. I am your host, Reno Noir. My co-host Stu Dog is coming. He's on the way, and we got a good show, man. We're gonna chop up this movie, Ant-Man 3, QUANTUMANIA. It's gotten some crazy mixed reviews because, you know, these critics are out here talking shit, review bombing and the whole nine. But honestly, you know, a critic, you got to remember, okay, critics are not, they're not film experts, okay? They're not like movie professionals. They're writers. That's what they're writers first and foremost. And that means they always have an agenda, always, without fail. And whether it's a nefarious agenda, you know, corporate agenda, you know, like DC review bombing, or whether it's just an agenda of, hey, look at me, I'm a good writer. You see, that's still an agenda. And it means that it overshadows the movie's critique. They're not really so concerned with giving you an honest critique as they are giving you a critique that makes them look interesting and insightful and smart and witty and a good writer, right? That's their number one goal, unless it's some other agenda, you know, be it political, social, corporate, whatever. Besides that fact, even if all that wasn't the case, it's another person, all right? It's another person. It's their opinion. It's a stranger. Would you let a stranger tell you what food is good? You might let a stranger recommend some food, but you're not going to decide, oh, that's nasty, if you never tasted it. At least, you know, if you're not 6 years old. But that's the thing. I mean, it's a very immature take to like already go into the movie, oh, this is gonna suck because the critics said so. Critics said Love and Thunder was the best MCU project to date. Remember that. These same critics said Love and Thunder was the shit. All right, they said Black Adam was trash, and I don't give a fuck. Black Adam was entertaining as hell. It was fun, and that's all it has to be, guys. I think that they overanalyze. You know, they want this shit to be Endgame. They forget, you know, Endgame was built up to. Endgame was something that we acquired over time. It's something that, you know, was impactful because we had spent 10 years with these characters and we had built up, you know, I mean, Captain America coming down with that Thor hammer was bananas, but it would have been if it was the first movie, right? It wouldn't have mattered. It was because it was built up. And a lot of people, you know, they want every MCU movie to be this big epic thing that just, you know, changes their life. It doesn't have to be. But that aside, Ant-Man was a good film. It was fun. It was entertaining. It had great special effects. It had a great story. I mean, come on, the acting top notch. You're talking Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jonathan Majors, Paul Rudd, great comedian, does his thing. A lot of the complaints were Ant-Man was not, or Quantumania wasn't Ant-Man enough. It was too big of a movie. Or then the other side is it wasn't big enough. It was just, you know, a little piddly movie. You got to pick which one you want it to be, guys. But the thing is, I don't think it was either. I think it was just a good film. You know, I looked at it more of like a sci-fi film, you know, a movie that if you're into sci-fi, if you like stuff like any Rick and Morty fans, guys, anybody that's into, you know, epic sci-fi stuff like that, I mean, you're gonna find this a cool movie. Bottom line, it's just fun. It was cool. And like I said, beside the storyline, everything being great, the acting is top tier. I mean, these are top tier actors. They all did their thing. Stu Dog Sada, welcome to the show. What's up, y'all? What's going down?
Hello.
What's up, man? What's up, man?
Hello.
What's up, man? What's up? It's been a long day for Stu Dog. He logging in a little late, but he still love y'all. You know what I'm saying? So,
Word up, peace,
man.
peace. Shout out to Cooks, Slade Wilson, Norin Rad, Original Origin. Shout out to the fam, man. Y'all are the sixth elementals.
Agreed, Norn Rad.
Kang was a big letdown. I thought Kang was great. Jonathan, that was the one thing that the critics even agreed on, that Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, I think
great.
his performance was spectacular, but writing wise, I think it was a kind of a letdown for me personally. But yeah, his performance was great.
All right, so you got. I was gonna ask you. You got to see the movie. Stu, have you seen the movie?
And you know it.
Right,
Thanks to you, I got to see it. I mean, thanks to you, I got to see that joint, sir. Yes, sir. F5 movies. Yes, sir.
On the house,
knock
baby.
that joint right off. Yes, sir. I
Shit,
mean, listen. I would have liked for it to be a little more clear. The clarity wasn't there.
Yeah.
But it was enjoyable.
Go
I mean,
it was still good.
Exactly. Yeah, it was good, man. I liked it. I mean, look, for what I needed it for, I can't lie and say I didn't enjoy myself, man. That'd be like me going to the Bunny Ranch and saying I didn't enjoy myself.
The Bunny Ranch.
Because I did.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, it all in all, it did its job. And I think that's, you know, that's what we want of it. I don't want to run into, and I kind of want to battle against. I want to battle against this new fad, I guess, where critics are giving their 2 cents, and it's actually affecting the way audiences go into movies. Like, maybe the critics shouldn't get to see it before everyone else and give us their opinion, because that I get people want to, but I don't know, man. Lately, the critics are totally unreliable, just unreliable. I mean, Love and Thunder is the best MCU film to date. Come on, guys. I mean, you can't.
Whoa, somebody said that.
That's what the critics were saying. That's what they all said at first. These same people that bashed Black Adam said it was garbage and unentertaining. It was a great movie. It was fun.
Man, I don't watch Black Adam. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I don't watch Black Adam like 3 times already. But before we move on with all this hoopla, I got a confession to make to y'all and the audience, man, while we here. I actually got to tell y'all something.
Give it to us raw.
And it's been on my mind, man. I gotta let it be. I gotta let it be broke, man. I really do. Sada, Reno. I've been watching Black Panther, and I done seen Black Panther like 4 or 5 times already, man. I gotta make a confession, man. The more I watch it, the more I enjoy it, man. I'm
this is not blown
away by it, man.
You've said this like every show.
Yeah, wait, this is not.
But Reno, I watched it again the other day, Reno. I can't stop watching it. I can't stop. And from the beginning, too, Reno, from the beginning. Like, I be sitting there checking, I be watching it, man. Listen. This is real, man. Black Panther 2 is way better than the first one. Even the rewrite is better than the first. The movie's dope, man. I'm still standing by my 4.5 couches out of 5. But I've been watching Black Panther, y'all, and I gotta confess to y'all that I really think I'm addicted to watching that movie, man. I really do.
You're addicted to it, okay?
Not even lie, man.
This is not a confession, guys. By the way, this is
not. All right. Oh, okay, all right.
We've heard this a lot, but I suppose it's a confession that he still to this day is doing it. I guess every day.
To this day, guys, he still loves the movie.
Right,
it's just so dope, man. Listen, I'm starting to learn the lines. I'm starting to recite the lines and everything, man. Watching it, man.
Let me help. Let me. But I just gotta address something, man. I gotta address this because we are 100% on the same. But please understand, this was not all Kang is gonna be all throughout the MCU, all through all the movies. This is not like he didn't die, like that one died.
No,
the after credit scene.
If that one did die, yeah, even if that one did die.
If he's supposed to be the big bad for the whole phase, and we're getting him in the first movie, already that tells me he's not that intimidating if Ant-Man and crew can get ahead on him. You know, like
No,
even if it's a variant of Kang, like it's just kind of like I would have wanted him to really shake the table. He should have killed one of them. He should have killed maybe Hank Pym or Janet, because they didn't have anything to do in the movie really. But you know, kill somebody. Make me feel like that in your first appearance. Right. You're intimidating. I didn't feel like that for me, and I just, you know, I'm like,
well, no, and you're right, and I personally, I don't see Kang as a big bad villain. I see him as a lead up to a big bad. I see Doom.
No, but he is the big bad. That's what he's touting.
I get that. I'm just saying I don't think that he even was that in the first place. But yeah, he is that. That's what they're making him. You know, that's what they're.
Yeah, no, he is
him up as
Thanos for this. I think he's the equivalent as far as
what they're trying. I think what they're trying to show is that we can kill as many of him as we want. They just keep coming. He's not powerful because every one of him is a god. It's just that there's a million. They are endless. Like, so it's kind of like maybe they're not all that intimidating in themselves, but the fact that there's so many in the council and they have all this, you know, they're able to do all this stuff, and maybe that's what gives it their power. I don't know, because like I said, I never saw Kang as like worthy of the big bad of the, like I wanted to see Galactus maybe, you know what I'm saying? But you know, hey, Dr. Doom, you know, somebody.
And I think Dr. Doom really, in all honesty, should have been the big bad for this phase. But Kang has that role right now because we're building up to Kang Dynasty and all that crap. So, you know, it's just like, all right, let's see it.
Comics, I mean, in the comics, Doom owns Kang. Like he you know, so maybe they are gonna build to that. Maybe this is like, maybe it will. Maybe phase 6 is the Doom phase. I mean, maybe it's a build up to that, because in the comics they do link, and that would be great. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the Prime Kang is the one that actually in the comics runs the council, but that is the one that they expelled. That's the one that they expelled, and you see this in the after credit scene. We're gonna get into all this. I want to break all this down. You know, the post credits and all of that is crazy. And spoiler alert, guys, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I was tripping. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, yeah, I was tripping.
They have there's two end credit scenes, right? Both of them have major implications for, you know, MCU phase 5. Ant-Man and the mid credits and post credit scene both deal with the biggest issue. Jonathan Majors' new villain, MCU villain, Kang the Conqueror, poses to the MCU in the new iteration of the Avengers. And, you know, he's a true multiversal threat. Cut one head off and more sprout in its place. He's kind of like a Hydra. That's his deal, is you can keep killing them, but they keep popping up. And as confirmed by Kevin Feige, you know, phase 4, 5, and 6 of the MCU, titled The Multiverse Saga, delving into, you know, the franchise's multiverse potential. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the you know, the gate, the opener for phase 5. By diving deeper into the quantum realm is really the focus of this movie, is to give us a better understanding of the quantum realm, really, you know, experience it. More importantly, properly introducing Kang, poised to be the next Thanos level threat, you know, to the MCU, the Conqueror, you know. But this is obviously not the only version of Kang that they revealed even in this movie, or that they plan. Or even in Loki, we heard, you know, we found more. The mid-credit scene, you've got the 3 Kang variants, right? You have Immortus Kang, Pharaoh Ramatut, and a third unspecified Kang variant. They meet to discuss the death of Kang from Ant-Man, that Kang, you know, remarking how the denizens of MCU's 616 universe are brushing with the multiverse. And then they discuss an attack, you know, walking out onto a massive arena, revealing a huge gathering of hundreds of Kangs from across the multiverse. And this is straight out of the comics. You know, I'll show you some cool pictures.
The way it even looked, the way it looked was like straight out of the comics.
Yeah, for real, for real. Yeah. Let me see. I think I got a picture of that shit, right? No, I don't. I'll find one. But yeah, you know, it's the end credit scene introduced the 3 new Kang variants, 2 of which easily identified. We know, you know, the similarities to their comic counterparts. You know, Immortus Kang is recognizable by the large, you know, Pope style headpiece, the big hat, and then Pharaoh Ramatut, you know, the Pharaoh. The third the futuristic looking Kang doesn't have an obvious match from the comics. So he's either, you know, a redesigned version of a known Kang variant like Prime Kang that runs the council in the comics, or a completely new character. You know, and in terms of the known Kang variants, Rama Tut was the first introduced in the Marvel Comics in 1961 as the Egyptian pharaoh and villain to the Fantastic Four. That's how he came about. And then when Marvel's, you know, when the Fantastic Four go back in time, they meet, they beat the fellow time traveler who had used his futuristic technology to become the pharaoh of Egypt. You know, we find out that he's from the future, and that's how he becomes the king. And so, and then Immortus, unlike the other variants, is less prone to violence and he's more of like a manipulator. He's more of like a strategic, you know, a strategist. And in the comics, Immortus works with the timekeepers against the other versions of himself. So this is why I thought Immortus was the one for sure. I was like, okay, Loki, that's Immortus, because he in the books is with the timekeepers and he's the one fighting the other versions of himself, though he's still an antagonist to the Avengers, you know, and the Fantastic Four. Aspects of Immortus were definitely used in Loki season 1. He Who Remains character is what they're called. So, but the show's version of the character is not a direct adaptation. So you can't really say it's him. But then the end credit scene introducing, you know, the Immortus, the Rama Tut, the third Kang, also effectively reveals the Council of Kangs. And this is one of my favorite things. I love the Council of Kangs. They never used that name, of course, but, you know, if you saw Rick and Morty, there's the Council of Ricks. And then you've also got the Council of Reeds. You know, there's a Reed Richards Council with a bunch of Reeds and Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four. You got to check that shit out. And, you know, in the comics, the Council of Kangs is led by Prime Kang. And he tricks Immortus into eliminating all of the other variants of Kang across the multiverse. All right, the Loki season 1 finale ending essentially did an inverse of this storyline, with Loki and Sylvie killing the Kang that was keeping the timeline in check and setting his variants loose on the multiverse, and set the stage for all these new Kangs to be introduced, which is kind of like at the end of Ant-Man, how you know, Ant-Man stops and he's like, oh shit, he said he was like, if I stopped him from leaving, everyone would die because all the other Kangs would, you know, be on the loose. And he was like, oh, fuck it. But as for the Council of Kangs, in the Quantumania end credit scene, all right, Immortus is positioned as the leader. He's kind of taking the role that Prime Kang in the comics took, and which the group, you know, changes the dynamic a bit. There's no Prime Kang unless the futuristic looking Kang is a redesigned version, or he's actually another end credits character, and more on that later. But Immortus isn't working against his variants. You know, as a result, this Council of Kangs will differ from the comics a lot. And in terms of their motivations, you know, they seem to be focused on preserving their respective kingdoms across the, you know, the multiverse. And since Ant-Man defeats Kang, you know, the Conqueror, though they recognize him and the Avengers as a threat, which sets up the major conflict of Phase 5. And of course, it's not just Ant-Man beating him; it was also, you know, Hank Pym and you know, the whole team and all of that. But the Council of Kangs, you know, as far as this mid-credit scene setting up the Avengers 5 and the Kang Dynasty and all of that, you know, you have the Council of Kangs most obviously sets up the Avengers Kang Dynasty. But the plot of the movie hasn't been officially revealed by Marvel Studios. The Quantumania end credit scene kind of sets up the Council of Kangs as the main antagonist of the 5th Avengers film. So as we go along, the Kangs we encounter become more and more powerful, if that makes sense. So like the first Kang in Loki was He Who Remains, and then this Kang the Conqueror, so every time the iteration, or, you know, whatever, with the end, I think, ending as the Council of Kangs being the biggest of the big bads. You know, Ant-Man was able to kill Kang the Conqueror with the Wasp and their, you know, the help of the team, meaning individual MCU heroes could theoretically defeat a single Kang variant with some assistance, but all of the Kang variants together are extremely powerful. And them uniting on the Council of Kangs positions the collective as a threat worthy of the Avengers assembling and stuff like that. By himself, he's not really a big bad, just one guy. He's not. And that's where I think people are like, why was he so easy to beat? He's just one, right? But that though the end credit scene is clearly set up for Kang Dynasty, it might also have sort of sneakily set up another MCU movie that I'm excited for, is the Fantastic Four. And what I'm hearing from Feige and them is that they're going to stick really close to the comics on this one. Apparently, this Fantastic Four is going to be more comic accurate than movies in the past. That's just a statement.
They don't have a choice.
I agree. I think they have to. At this point, they have to. But it's not clear yet. Who will be the villain of the Fantastic Four. Hopefully, it's Doom. Past iterations have adapted Doctor Doom in a way shittily. Marvel might look to go in a different direction because they've always done Doctor Doom. Which Galactus I'm fine with, do something, but setting up Doom would be great. I don't want Doom to be just a Fantastic Four movie villain. You know what I mean? Doom is worthy of a whole phase or two. You know what I mean? Like, Doom could end up being the whole shit behind. That's what he does in the comics. Doom ends up being the one behind everything. You know what I mean? When they find out, and but after all, the two different Fantastic Four movies have already featured Doom. But instead, the villain of the MCU's Fantastic Four could end up being a version of Kang or Kang's, either Rama Tut, because that's how he came out in the comics, was in Fantastic Four, or another variant. But since Fantastic Four is the last movie before the Kang Dynasty, it makes sense for it to properly set the stage for the Avengers team up. And the most logical way to do that is to include the Kang. Kang is the main villain. The post-credit scene, Victor Timely, the Victorian inventor and Kang variant, is showing off some revolutionary tech from a stage, and Tom Hiddleston's Loki, Owen Wilson's Mobius are in the audience, and with Loki identifying him, due to him looking exactly like He Who Remains, he's like, oh, that's that guy, right? The second Ant-Man post-credit scene gives us the fourth Victor, the fourth Kang, right? This is Victor Timely. Appears to be the early 1900s, giving a presentation on time, right? Like kind of a TED Talk of the day. And in the comics, Victor Timely's an inventor, an industrialist, who found a town in Wisconsin and names it after himself. And this variant of Kang becomes the town's mayor, but uses his technology from the future and his advancements and stuff, which make him look like a super genius to them, and that lays the groundwork, helps him conquer later in the timeline. But Victor Timely also is a disguise for Prime Kang in the comics. They haven't identified Prime Kang yet as being Prime Kang. They're identifying the one in Ant-Man as Kang the Conqueror. But it's all just names they're using. But as the Quantumania, because what they're named in the comics and how they are related to who they were in the comics is all being muddled. But as the end credit scene continues, it's revealed that Loki and Mobius are sitting in the crowd looking at the presentation, and Loki's like, oh yeah, that's him. He points him out to Mobius. Mobius is kind of skeptical, remember, because he wasn't there, and this directly leads into Loki season 2, which will definitely see Loki and the Time Variance Authority tracking down the versions of Kang throughout the multiverse. And it's possible the majority of Loki season 2 is going to focus on Victor Timely, since he's given such a prominent feature in this end credit scene that's clearly about Loki season 2. And the season might then end with the reveal that he's Prime Kang, with him perhaps joining or taking over the Council of Kangs, like in the comics, running the Council of Kangs, and that would make sense, because they're gonna want a singular guy to be the main bad guy. Of course, they can't make it a council talking like in a chorus or something, but Marvel might avoid that part of the character's comics counterpart. he might simply just be the one-off villain for the Loki show, like the other one. Like, and that's what they seem to be doing. They seem to be making these Kang versions into these one-off villains for these individual movies.
Yeah, that's a double-edged sword, because it's like, okay, if that's the case, then there are no stakes with any of these projects until King Dynasty. So why should I care and be invested? You know what I mean? Let me just check in when King Dynasty comes in, and I'll have something to look forward to. That's, if that's what they're doing, that's kind of a double-edged sword for me.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it could go either way, and it is dangerous, because that could be boring, you know. But either way, the fact that Loki appears in the end credit scene means it's a setup for the season 2 show. You know, what is expected to come out on Disney Plus this year. And you know, at the very end of the movie, after the second credit scene, you get the title card that says Kang will return, but it doesn't specify in which movie or what show. You know, and this is reminiscent of, remember in Phase 1, the movies which featured that similar sort of title cards for the heroes, you know, before they united in the Avengers movie. And Marvel has brought it back for the multiverse saga and included them on other films like the Doctor Strange multiverse, the Love and Thunder movie. But interestingly, Quantumania doesn't tease Ant-Man's return. It doesn't say anything about Ant-Man coming back. It's talking about Kang. That's what makes it different than the other ones. But it does make sense, largely because Kang is meant to be the next major villain of the MCU, and as you know, as we said, he's set to be the main antagonist of the Kang Dynasty movie, the Avengers movie, as well as a key factor in the Loki show. But it's possible a version of Kang also might appear or be in the Fantastic Four movie too. Beyond that, it's unclear, you know, when exactly Kang will return in the MCU. They haven't said for sure, but we know he'll be in at least, you know, those projects for sure. But with at least these 2 other appearances confirmed already after the third, you know, this Ant-Man movie, Marvel is certainly already working to fulfill that promise that Kang will be back after Quantumania. I mean, they want to make sure that we know he's not dead. He didn't get killed. That, you know, that wasn't at all at Kang dying or anything like that. And they just want to reiterate that. So, despite, you know, being the key location in the MCU since Phase 2, the quantum realm hasn't really been properly explained. They haven't really broken it down. You know what I mean? Like they kind of show us it, and that's it. But it was introduced in, you know, during Ant-Man 1, which we got, you know, we saw Scott Lang going into the little microscopic world, you know, despite Hank Pym telling him not to do it. And in different MCU projects, Ant-Man, you know, and his little size changing crew have seemed to gain control over traveling into and through the quantum realm. But while the quantum realm is an important location in Ant-Man and Ant-Man the Wasp and Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania and Avengers Endgame, they haven't really broken it down. It's still very mysterious. And you know, it clearly is a very important part of the MCU. It's an important, you know, world, and not least because it enabled the Avengers to time travel in Endgame and save the universe in the wake of the Thanos attack. You know, in Quantumania, you know, we have the teenage Cassie Lang, and they're trapped in the quantum realm, and it's sort of, you know, we come face to face with the new characters from this new upside down whatever, you know, that live down there, and you know, even introduces, you know, Kang the Conqueror, and but so many questions, you know, so many questions around exactly what it is. Obviously it's a microscopic dimension, right? That's what Hank Pym told us. You know, he said what he said: it's a reality where all concepts of time and space become irrelevant. What the fuck is that, right? just because it's small and microscopic, why is space and time irrelevant, right? Why do physics stop working and things like that? And Pym also suggests that, you know, the quantum realm is a largely unexplored world too. So it's kind of like it's like space for us now. Like we've never really traveled it, discovered, you know, explored it and all of that. And but it was proposed before his eyes get open to the true extent of life in the quantum realm during Quantumania. And the producer for Marvel Studios, Steven Broussard, mentioned that the quantum realm is a world unto itself, not unlike Asgard or Wakanda. I think that's like a understatement. It's way bigger than Asgard or Wakanda. It's you know, it's like infinite, right? So, but Hank Pym is the first known human to discover it, the existence of the quantum realm in the comics and in the MCU, through his use of the Pym particles that basically allow him and the other Ant-Man to shrink down to atomic level, you know, beyond atomic level size. And it's a dimension that's sort of housed in the spaces between atoms, right? Which is, you know, unimaginably small, obviously. So where, you know, while it's in the minuscule, you know, proportions compared to the surface world, the inside of the quantum realm has a lot of different regions in it, right? Housing different creatures, different civilizations, different types of landscape, you know, different environments and all of that. And you know, it also seems like the quantum realm makes for the perfect prison too. It's like when they put you in there, for some reason you can't get out, right? Which, I mean, how could you, right?
Right.
And you know, unless you could grow really big, how, you know, where are you going to go? But the concept was initially introduced to the MCU during Ant-Man, right? And a lot of projects since have done their own sort of dimensions, you know, their own stories, and but the quantum realm has always been directly associated with Peyton Reed's Ant-Man franchise in the MCU. But you know, developed further in this movie, you know, here, but I think it's gonna spread more into other movies in the MCU, other franchises, you know. And as the heroes design the quantum tunnel, you know, to allow them to travel freely back and forth, to retrieve the trapped Janet Van Dyne, because and like at the end when they were going when they came out when they came through and Ant-Man got stuck and then she came back and they were stuck, but she just opened the thing back up. They can just go in and out whenever they want now. I think because Cassie invented that shit. But outside of Ant-Man, you know, the MCU projects have given, so you know, explored sort of aspects of it. Because Doctor Strange, we saw the Ancient One send Stephen Strange through all the different dimensions in the multiverse, and one of those was the quantum realm. But he doesn't truly understand what he's seeing, and so neither do we. And the quantum realm is a key plot point in Avengers Endgame, right? So as Scott Lang realizes the Avengers could use the quantum realm's time vortexes and portals to travel back in time and collect all the Infinity Stones for themselves. And the quantum realm is also in the What If series. I think they mention it in Ms. Marvel too. But it's different in the comics. That's kind of what I wanted to, you know, compare. The MCU's quantum realm is an amalgamation of two different locations in Marvel Comics. The quantum zone, which is the realm where all the energy of the universe comes from. All the energy of the universe comes from the quantum zone. And then the microverse, which houses the subatomic dimensions. And those realities have been explored in a lot of different times in their different comic runs and different titles of Marvel Comics. And with the microverse, you know, notably being home to the Micronauts. There was a Micronauts film. The film rights are with Paramount Pictures, which means that Marvel Studios can't, you know, use them or use the term microverse rather when they're introducing the quantum realm in the MCU. But the quantum realm does seem to share a lot of similarities with, you know, the microverse from the comics. and the quantum zone in the comics is a more sort of mysterious location, but it's even more important. And because it's the source of all the energy in the universe, and it's also what gives the quantum bands their power, right? Quasar, in which there's speculation that Quasar, there was speculation they thought Quasar was going to be in this movie and all of that because of that. And, but, more added more weight to the idea of the quantum bands, and stuff like that coming in. But, with Guardians of the Galaxy and Adam Warlock and all of that, it may come around full circle. But, you know, the version of the Micronauts, as the Quantum Realm's own Avengers team would be cool if they could have done that. But in the comics, the Microverse is actually a sentient system of worlds, which could be an interesting development to introduce into the MCU. It's something they still could do. I think they're a little worried. This stuff gets a little nerdy. We nerd the fuck out, and this shit gets real. Normies and the casual audience. They get, as soon as you get confused, you lose them. So MCU will probably not go, anywhere as deep as the comics, and they never do. And I think a lot of people forget that when they complain about comic book accuracy and things like that. But Ant-Man and the Wasp reveals that Janet Van Dyne had been trapped inside the quantum realm for 30 years and had been shown to have aged 30 years also. But when Scott Lang finds himself trapped in the quantum realm in the post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp, only to be released 5 years later in Avengers Endgame, only 5 hours had passed for him. He remember, he was walking, he had no idea. He was like, what the fuck? Like, everything was crazy to him. It had only been a few hours in his mind. And the fact that not much is understood about the concept of time inside the quantum realm lends itself heavily to Hank Pym's comments in Ant-Man, which suggests that time becomes irrelevant, right? And Scott himself states that the quantum realm is completely unpredictable. You can't plan for shit because time doesn't work like that. And Janet Van Dyne warning them about the quantum realm in the second movie included, ensuring Scott wouldn't get sucked into any of the time vortexes and shit. And that sort of suggests that time works differently in different areas, right? The different zones of the quantum realm. And so while Scott was trapped there for 5 years, it felt like 5 hours. Janet was stuck for 30 years and lived every minute of those 30 years, right? So it depends on where you are in the quantum realm. In this movie, the Quantumania, we see that Kang has been imprisoned in the quantum realm for years, but we don't know from his perspective, how crazy that could be. But the time travel aspect, because the concept of time in the quantum realm might seem, it could be a nightmare, you know what I'm saying? But it's these sort of time vortexes that gave the Avengers the opportunity to time travel in Endgame, remember? And they entered in the quantum realm at one point in time, traveling through the vortex to exit out at another point. But like, the quantum realm also enables the traveling across the timeline, since Steve Rogers returns from his retirement to pass Captain America's shield to Sam Wilson, despite living his life in a separate timeline. And it's possible that there are further undiscovered ways to use the quantum the quantum realm for time travel. And all of this is Marvel's basically licensed to do whatever they want. They can retcon, they can make up rules as they go, and it's basically a license to write however you want to write, which it's comic books. Doesn't have to make sense.
Yes, it does. For the movies. Yes, it does.
That's yeah. I mean, that's the conundrum. That's why they often change it so much. From the comics, they have to make it make sense to casual audiences who don't know all the backstories and other side shit. But the writer, he confirmed that the quantum realm is a separate reality in the MCU's multiverse. in fact, dawning at the basement of the multiverse, and meaning that the multiversal, travel has actually been a key plot point long before the MCU's multiverse saga and the introduction of America Chavez in Doctor Strange Multiverse. It makes Ant-Man, in the Quantumania, the perfect film to start, phase 5 in the multiverse saga. It really does fit. And it could mean that the quantum realm has been affected by Loki and Sylvie's actions in Loki in season 1 finale, because and there's other, Kang's got ways to do shit without fucking up the other timelines. Like, Stu, remember how, if they do something in one timeline or they go back, they have to, they have to fix it and shit. And they're sort of trying to fix this multiversal battery or this multiversal engine to allow him to escape and, and go anywhere he wants in the multiverse, but also lets him change the past in a way that the Avengers can't do, in a way that doesn't fuck up the timeline. And, it's that they can't do it in the Infinity Saga, and the item also there that they used, it visually looks like the Forever Crystal from the comics, which is described by Immortus as a device to allow him to change the past and allow him to travel anywhere. And there's also in the comics something called the Beyond Verse, right? You've got the multiverse, and then the Beyond Verse is beyond the multiverse, and it's got characters and items with powers and from the Beyond Verse. And this Kang will show up again, I think, as the Beyonder down the road, which that's a whole nother look up the Beyonder, because that's gonna be nuts. And implied by dialogue that there are, that they are the ones, the Kangs, the three, the Immortus and the Ramatut, and that they're the ones that exiled this Kang of Ant-Man. And we'll get changes happening in the MCU and different stuff. Stuff is gonna be weird, and we'll be like, why'd that happen, or how'd that happen? It's not gonna make sense. They'll make it make sense in later movies and later shows as the time, rewinds and makes sense. I see this being a like you said, a double-edged sword. It's a risky way to do it. I'm hyped for it. I think nerds and comic heads are gonna love this phase. That's just my prediction, but it's just my opinion based on what I'm seeing. But it'll make sense later. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see the time reveal, but their idea, their goal is to not leave the casual audience behind here. So and they'll set up they're setting up a scenario that can change things with an excuse that, and then the Beyonder verse, the Beyonder characters, operating outside the multiverse, space and time. And it's gonna be dope if they do that. Yo, remember I was telling y'all about MODOK's butt? Look.
Awful. Awful.
Yo, they picked him up out of the goop. His little baby butt. Oh shit! Shout out Lito's Way in the building. Marshall Warpath, salute. Was good. Shout out to Knowledge 360. Peace. Kobe Wilson, welcome.
I don't know, Daddy Chill. I don't know what the hell that is. That looked awful. He was like one of the worst aspects of the film. Honestly, like that whole. I don't. They shouldn't have even included MODOK. I don't know why they included him if that's what they were going to do. That was a waste of everyone's time.
That was the worst part of the movie. MODOK's terrible pupils. I mean, he's got regular pupils like people eyes, and they were trying to be funny with it and stuff, but
failed. I'll say that right now. It really is equivalent to Shark Boy and Lava Girl, George Lopez's character. That's what it's equivalent to. It looks exactly like that. Like
it's pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. That's my biggest complaint visually of the movie is the design, but that's a design thing. I like how he looks with the mask on, but I really want to see them give a character plain white eyes like in the comics. I was pissed that Thanos had pupils because, and they did that because they wanted to make him seem human or give him humanity and all of that. And it's like, that's why you take the pupils out in the comics. That's why the artists design it that way and makes villains look that way, because it takes away you know, their humanity and shit.
Right. I think for Thanos, it kind of worked a little bit. Oh, couch rating. Oh, Stu, you didn't give your couch rating.
You didn't give your couch rating
for this movie.
For this movie or for Black? For
no, I think Slade wanted it for this movie. I think he wanted it for this movie. What's your rating? Yeah. Your mic is muted or it's off.
No, I didn't give a rating for this one yet. Just talking about Black Panther. It was a little off subject, but I had to make that confession. You know what I mean? I had to confess. You know what I mean? Let y'all know that that's what I've been doing in my spare time. Watching Black Panther.
Just rewatching Black Panther too.
Yeah, bro, it's dope, man.
It's an addiction, man.
It is, man.
It's an addiction.
As far as Ant-Man Quantumania, I'll give it 3.5 couches out of 5.
Yeah, I can feel that.
I'm like, it's got a lot of mixed reviews here and there, and we know you're right. I don't think they should. I think
he does.
Yeah, everybody, they go with the because one person said it, another person listen, everybody out there, people's opinions are their opinions. That's all they are. I don't give a damn who writes the article about the movie. I don't give a damn how many facts they put in it. I don't give a damn how many facts they take out of it. It's still based off somebody else's opinion. Form your own opinion. If you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't. That's just it. That's it. We ain't gotta go deep in the weeds.
If I don't like it, I don't like it. It don't mean that I'm hating.
Right, exactly. So me, I like the Ant-Man Quantum. I thought it was a good movie for the trilogy. I really, and it's rare that you get 3 movies that are good in a trilogy coming out of Hollywood. And I thought that this was a good ending. If they ever gonna do another Ant-Man movie or don't,
please.
If they don't, I'm glad with what I got. And if they do, I hope they just keep up with the good work, because I didn't think it was bad. I thoroughly enjoyed Kang like everybody else. And I know he's coming back, and I know there's more than one Kang. Even if this Kang did die after they threw him into the engine, we don't know if he died, but they just showed him disappear. So whether he died or not, we know Kang's coming back. We know he's the big bad, and I want to see more. And I think that's what their goal was. So they accomplished that with me and my couch. I want to see more Kang. I want to see where this leads to, and give me more. I want more. I want more, and I want to see where it's going.
Yeah, I want to see more Kang. We don't need another Ant-Man. Yeah. No, we don't need another Ant-Man, but more Kang definitely. No, I mean Ant-Man.
No more Ant-Man. I didn't. Nah, it's just the way you said it. Nah, it's the way you said it. You was like, well, you're that man.
I've never been invested in Scott Lang's Ant-Man. Never.
Yeah.
Actually.
Right.
Including this movie, but
Scott, never.
I'm interested in Hank Pym's Ant-Man, which they glossed over because they ramped up his age and said, he's no longer Ant-Man. Like, that's BS. I wanted to see that. So
I agree.
To give me Scott Lang, it's like, I don't want it, but whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Ant-Man ever anyway. This is definitely, people are, some critics saying it's the worst of the Ant-Man. This is my favorite of the Ant-Man movies. I didn't like the second one really. The first one was good though. It was funny. It was different from anything the MCU was doing at the time. Had done
it really was.
So it was like a little breath of fresh air, maybe a little something, a funny thing, whatever. But I didn't take it seriously. So I think this movie was trying to add some, give some. Even in the movie, they make fun of how Ant-Man is an insignificant character. I mean, they had the guy in the coffee shop thinking he was Spider-Man, and once he found out he was Ant-Man, he was like, "Oh, cool, you can pay for the coffee now." It was funny, but I mean, the differences from the the comics and the movies and stuff, I always like to explore. And Kang's MCU powers are pretty accurate to the comics. And different from the source material, and bringing this ultra powerful villain to live action, included adding some abilities that Kang has never had in the comics, right? And the biggest example is this telekinetic like abilities that he's had in Quantumania. He doesn't have, and this is a new addition to his powers made solely for the MCU, but it is a smart addition to his power set to help make him more formidable. And that's like I was saying earlier, like when I was telling you, Sada, I didn't ever see him as a big bad level villain because his whole thing in the comics is he has technology from like the year 3000. Like he can go way in the future and get tech that's way beats anything that, Reed Richards could come up with or whatever. Like that's his whole thing. And he can time travel. But he doesn't like he doesn't like blast you. He doesn't like have telekinetic powers. He wasn't that kind of dude. Like he couldn't blast energy beams like Thanos or anything like that. He was just a time traveler. And then the other major differences in Kang's powers in the MCU versus the comics is the paraphernalia and the weapons that he does not have. Like again, that Quantumania focuses on what his suit can do for him, and the abilities that he has, like that. But he uses a variety of other technologies that sort of help him during his quest. But some of the other weapons that he's had access to in the comics, like the vibration ray projector, the electromagnetic field amplifier, the neutrino ray, the warhead missile launcher, electrical paralysis generators and shit, molecular expander, right? All just shit like that. Like that shit is, that's his power, and they don't have that, and that's what we're missing. And I really would have liked to had that Kang. Like if we're gonna do Kang, let's fucking do Kang. That's what Kang is all about. Have him come in with, some crazy ray cannons or whatever. That's what he does. Otherwise, don't, let's use Doom. Like you're giving him Doom powers. Doom is all about the suit that gives him powers and shit. That's Doom. So again, yeah, I mean, so but there have been times when he had the ability to transfer his consciousness through his helmet to another body before he died, shit like that. But an intriguing part of Kang the Conqueror joining the MCU is bringing his many variants and seeing how their powers are similar and different to his. And the MCU has already teased that not all the Kang variants are going to have the same power sets, right? Like He Who Remains and Loki did not appear to have a lot of abilities that this Ant-Man, Kang the Conqueror had, or the multiple variants in the post-credit scenes seem to have different powers, but that are on par with one another, but have some differences. And then the endless possibilities of the multiverse born from the branched timelines have already proven that the MCU can have unlimited number of Kangs, right? And that freedom brings a high variance in terms of what they look like and sound like. We've already seen so many different versions of Mortis, Ramatut, and the different ones. And since not all these versions of the character have the same history, Marvel has the ability to give some of the different variants powers based on their, different backstories or different multiversal, adventures or whatever. And, but this movie, I think, is just the tip of the iceberg for Kang, man. Is just, we're just getting a peek of what he's gonna do. But yeah, there's some dope characters, man. With some good comic accurate powers.
No, it is. Yeah, it was good, bro. I can't take nothing away from it, man. I just don't understand why so many of the critics are just. I mean, it's a seesaw right now. You got.
I mean, they may just not be enjoying the movie. That just might be what it is. And some people just enjoying the movie.
Yeah, that final battle was dope.
Look at the audience scores that are, vastly better than the critics scores.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been that differentiation. Sometimes it's just kind of like there's a huge disconnect. That always happens.
Yeah,
right.
It does.
But if you go back,
why?
Yeah. If you go back and look at
like, why should it be so different? Why wouldn't
well, because the critics view a film differently than the average person. I mean, they're more analytical. They look at the details and stuff like that. And sometimes
and they have an agenda.
Well,
they
maybe.
agenda.
But sometimes an audience member, like when they look at a film, like for instance, most people really enjoyed King, and that could be enough for them for the film, and be like, yeah, I love the film, I loved King, while a critic may look a little deeper or something like that. It just depends, because everybody views the film differently. So
yeah, but I don't give critics that. I don't think they have that deeper. I don't think they're film professionals. They're just writers that have an agenda, and I don't mean they have an agenda like, you know, a political agenda, a social agenda, or some corporate agenda. They just have an agenda to make themselves look like a good writer. They can't just give you their honest opinion. If they just say, "Oh, I loved it. It was great. Everything was great, and it was so dope." That's not going to make. If they have some critiques, that again, that's the critic in them. When they want to critique everything, but just because they might hate, like I hated the MODOK, but I don't say it's a bad movie because MODOK sucked. You know what I mean? And they might do that. They might say, "Oh, the movie sucks because MODOK was ridiculous." I don't do that. You know, like
I mean, yeah, I mean, but that wouldn't be valid, because there are people who like this movie just because it came, and that's it. And those opinions I don't really take to heart, because it's like, okay, that's one aspect of the movie that you're reigning supreme over everything, even though there's all these other things. So like, that's true. I get that. Those people, you gotta just like not, gotta just put that to the side. You're right. Because there are definitely critics like that, and it's kind of like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you know, they you know, people might like, I don't really talk about Jonathan Majors Kang being all of that, because I don't want to because Michelle Pfeiffer was great. Michael Douglas was cool. Like, they all were good in the movie. Just saying that he was great, but they were all good. Like, I don't want to, you know, jump on the bandwagon of saying Kang was great. You know, I'm just trying not to follow the fucking, you know, the flock or whatever.
I get that. But if that's your opinion, then it just happens to be in line with everybody else. Sometimes it's just like that.
And that's true. You know, sometimes that's right. Sometimes my opinion just happens to match what everyone else thinks. And in that case, you know, yeah, I'll admit that. But I think a lot of critics, man, I read a lot of their stuff. Have you ever tried this? Like, when you read a critic, like an article or something, go read like 5 of them. It will blow your mind how they'll verbatim like say the same exact lines and shit, using exact same sentences. And it's like, well, how can that be your opinion? You've literally copied what someone else said. Like, they do it they have no shame. They don't even like try to change the wording. I've been blown away. Like, it's been copy and paste shit. And it's like, that's another example of I got to take that with a grain of salt. Because if y'all are all saying the exact same thing, you know, clearly that can't be your personal opinion. It can't be your honest opinion. And that's what I try to look for. I just try to look for honest opinions. If you're trashing the movie, cool. If that's how you honestly feel, and you know, your points are valid and all of that, cool. I mean, you know, everybody has their opinion, and I don't knock anybody for their opinion. What I just don't like is I just don't like people jumping on the bandwagon type of thing, or like, you know, like this. They're looking at. I was reading an article today about how the early critic reviews before the movies come out, you know, dramatically affect the box office, you know, ticket sales, you know, and that's unfortunate. Like, critics' reviews should not stop you from going to see a movie that you are interested in. If this is something you would have wanted to see, go see it.
But see, that leads to a larger problem with people who are fickle, you know, they just let one person sway their opinion on a given subject or whatever. Like, you know, if a critic, if that really holds that much power with you, and you can't have your own mind and be like, I still want to see this. Maybe I'm a little apprehensive because of the reviews, but I still want to see this. If you can't do that, then I don't know. I don't know, buddy.
Yeah. And that's right. Knowledge 360. Some of these movies, you know, some of these movies will have, you know, crazy box office numbers, but these critics will trash it, and then everybody like, oh yeah, that movie, it was a flop. But you look
But
at
we
the
all know
money,
money doesn't mean a whole lot. It doesn't represent the quality of a film.
That's 100%.
You can look at Fast and Furious.
we do have to acknowledge that, because we could look at
Highlander.
Stu's never let that go.
Highlander should not have met a
but no, like, it should have never had a part 2, and he did.
Shouldn't have. But they, you know, it goes. It's all types of media. You know what I'm saying? Like, the highest selling platinum rapper is not gonna be usually my favorite rapper. Like, I don't, you know, it is, or you know, just because I'm music, just because an album, you know, I don't like Barbara Streisand. She sells 50 million albums, right? So it don't matter. Numbers don't matter. That's true. Lito's Way said, my biggest issue with Kang here was all the talk of killing Avengers. It would have been cool to show some evidence of that, whether it was in flashbacks or simply some souvenir.
Agreed.
Yeah, that was
like in the comics. Yeah, in the comics he has souvenirs. Yeah,
right.
Because that would have helped me see him as more of a threat. Like, I got to look out for this guy. And we didn't get that. So
because he said, "Have I killed you before? Like, you're an Avenger, or are you one of the ones I've killed? Like, are you the guy with the hammer?" Like, implying that he killed Thor or something. Like,
yeah, he should have just brought out a broken Mjolnir or something like that.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Because in the comics he would have, and you know, he'll have souvenirs from these other timelines, man. They definitely could have done that.
Oh yeah, definitely not. It definitely has not been. Ooh. That's why, you know, you just can't treat Rotten Tomatoes like, you know, the end all be all. At least some people out there, they can't, and they do, and that's unfortunate.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, like,
I mean, like, don't let Rotten Tomatoes sway you from seeing something you're interested in.
Right. If you're already interested in it, then I feel like go for broke. If anything, see it bootleg. If you don't really want to pay for it, you know, if you don't want to take that risk, okay, go see a bootleg, because that's not going to sway your interest. You know, it's just money.
Exactly. And yeah, and back to MODOK. I wanted to talk about MODOK because again, I was so excited we were gonna get MODOK. He's a cool character in the comics, but you know why I was really excited we were getting MODOK is because he's such a weird looking character. I really was interested to see a live action version.
Yeah, I wanted to see that design, and this design made me cry.
I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to see nothing Hollywood designs. I don't have high hopes anymore, because they either def you out in black leather, and if it ain't black leather, it's some weird golden, it's some weird design that we just be like, you know what, I'm good. Like when the X-Men came out, everybody had on black leather. Everybody with little gold stripes. Everybody, and they was like, Wolverine, and this is crazy. Wolverine, we don't have a suit for you. Oh, Mike, I got my own. And he goes and pulls out his joint, and it's the baddest thing we ever seen. But no, Scott, you can borrow one of mine. And he puts on his all black suit. And can punch, and then you know, punches his claws through the gloves. Stop! Why just didn't put him in the suit?
Comic movies.
Just put him in the suit.
But MODOK in the comics, man, George Tarleton was he was a human guinea pig used by AIM, who they eventually turned into that mental organism designed only for killing. But again, man, like, knowing Kang was going to be in the movies, all these things from the comic conjure up. I'm thinking about AIM, and I'm thinking, oh shit, Kang's like, you know, and then, you know, due to AIM's experiments, his head gets really big, right? And because the increased super intelligence they gave him, his brain got so big, you know, and then so big that he needs this floating chair just to get around, because he can't walk around. His head's too fucking big. And so he was also given that the powers of technokinesis, not telekinesis, technokinesis, meaning that he can remotely control technology with his mind. And MODOK served as AIM's lead tactician and strategist, and his intelligence borders on precognition. Like, he's so smart, he can damn near tell the future. And there's a video game version that's pretty solid, that mirrors the comics, like his, you know, in his eventual form and powers. And you know, it's also a nice touch, you know, in the Marvel's Avengers. but that they had Tarleton kill Captain America aboard the Chimera at the beginning of the game, seeing how, as how MODOK was primarily a Cap villain first. He was originally, Captain America, bad guy, and because AIM, and all of that, and Shield, and the whole thing, and before becoming a foe to any of the Marvel heroes in the universe, as time went on, he, eventually crossed over to all the different titles. But it's interesting that he was always in the seat of power at AIM, right, serving as its founder along with Monica. And in the comics, it was only after he became MODOK that he forcibly took control of AIM, as he had become too powerful for them to handle and all of that. And the MCU, they'll have, he's got a totally different origin, totally different design. There's no George Tarleton in the MCU, so they made this other guy MODOK, for a stupid in a stupid reason, like a stupid origin, like a dumb way that he did it. Let me let Sada back in. And but prior to appearing in the MCU, Marvel had brought MODOK into the video game, the Avengers video game, and there was also a Hulu show, an animated show. That funny, it was like a goofy show. And
still on. It's good. It's actually really good.
What, is the MODOK show?
Yeah.
Yeah, the MODOK
show. Oh yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It was okay.
Well,
it wasn't
terrible. I haven't seen it, but I was interested to see it. But
it's a comedy. It's like a comedy.
It's funny. It's like a cartoon, right?
It's yeah,
it's a comedy.
It's like, it looks like Robot Chicken. Chicken, but it's good. It's good. I can't take nothing away from it. It's just actually decent.
Well, as there's a lot of bad guys, in Avengers villains in the game, in the Marvel's Avengers game. But the primary antagonist is Dr. George Tarleton, the head of the Advanced Idea Mechanics, AIM, which took over as S.H.I.E.L.D.'s world's premier peacekeeping force after the events of A-Day, which dissolved S.H.I.E.L.D. and disbanded the Avengers for 5 years. And since that time, Tarleton has been evolving, and as the game progresses, Tarleton embraces his new identity as the classic, villain MODOK. But this version of MODOK deviated somewhat from the comics, but not as much as the MCU. In the game, Tarleton was introduced to us as like a scientist working with S.H.I.E.L.D. and on the Avengers Initiative and stuff. And much of his work was focused on the Terrigen crystals, which they were using to power the engines of their helicarrier, the Chimera. But unfortunately, a darker game was afoot with Tarleton, her colleague Monica Rappaccini, which is the head scientist at AIM, and both wanted to experiment, further for their own desires, different, for power and recognition. But due to the unstable nature of the Terrigen crystals, they caused a chain reaction in the helicarrier engine, and that's simultaneously paying Taskmaster to stage an attack on the Golden Gate Bridge to sort of keep the Avengers, occupied. But in the aftermath, the San Francisco, was all fucked up, and the helicarrier was destroyed, and Captain America was busted up, and the crystals became a gas that granted several different of the civilians with different powers, and turning them into Inhumans. And the Terrigen Mist and all that, that's from the comics. And that day was known as A-Day, and the Avengers disbanded in the wake of this Tarleton and Monica create AIM, and to fill the void and create a robotic peacekeeping force that also worked to capture and cure the Inhumans, whom they believed were diseased people that were needed to be cured. And as they mentioned previously, Tarleton transformed into MODOK. They over the course of the game, and you kind of see that. But thanks to Monica's treatments for the injuries he sustained on A-Day, he's getting more strong and shit. But after that, and Hulu canceled the MODOK animated series. It says here, but
yeah, that only went on for like a season, and they let it go.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. I think people just, I don't know, man. Like, I think people, when it comes to Marvel, they're getting tired of the jokes. I keep hearing people say that.
The jokes
MODOK,
and it was not
MODOK won't work as a comedy because people would rather see MODOK just being a badass because that's how he's presented in the comics.
Yeah, I mean,
you can do
he's
some
always
stuff.
funny though. He's always funny.
Yeah,
but it's like dry. It's not like juvenile like it was
not
presented.
slapstick.
Even in
yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, but in the movie, like they've got this guy Darren Cross, right, played by Corey Stoll, who was what Hank Pym's apprentice, who stole his technology and made that, you know, his company Cross Technologies, and they thought he was dead, right, because they crushed him. He was in the wasp suit, and he just got crushed into, you know, subatomic size, and we thought that was gonna be all. He was gonna be all gross and mangled, which I guess he was. You know, just all smashed into one head. The helmet was all that remained. But you know, based on the movie Ant-Man's 3, MODOK and Ant-Man Darren Cross and / Yellow Jacket / you know, all being the same person. But it was just, I think it was just an excuse, a way to put MODOK in it.
They shouldn't have even bothered.
Yeah, just to add a character.
Right,
but,
just to make something.
I mean, they wrote the movie, they put it out. That's what we got.
And that is unfortunate.
I'm staying with 3.5 couches out of 5.
3.5 couches.
3.5 couches, baby. That's what it's getting. But I do agree. I do like to the end scene credit with the Council of Kangs and how they showed that and how that looked like the comic book iteration of it. And then I think it's the end, like the super end credit scene. You know what I mean? Like where they show what was that, Ramatut? And the rest of them getting together.
Yeah.
That was dope, bro. And that just shows you that there's more to come. And you know, they kind of went light, because when we watched that first phase, it was kind of light. And remember, they showed us Thanos a couple of times. You know, the one at the end of the one movie, they just showed him still smiling. That was it. And then in Guardians, they actually showed him, like, you know, when he was talking about killing Ronan. That's when we got our really first real taste of Thanos. This one, they kind of dove in 2 feet deep. Kang. Yeah, and then they gave us more Kang at the end of the movie. So they're letting you know how serious this is, and like we said, there's a lot of them. And even if you go back and if you pay attention to what He Who Remains said at the end of Loki, he said that there are different timelines, different places in time, where there are different versions of himself, and they all exist differently. They all think differently, and he stopped that war. But now that now he's gone, who's there to keep them from doing whatever they want to do? So, you know, if you pay attention, it all makes sense when you pay attention to it. It really, really does. And you got to start from Loki. When he explained the whole thing to you, you just got to see it for what it is.
I got some dope photos, man. All right, let me get these photos. Yeah, check these out. But just give me a second. They're going to take a minute to... God damn it.
Well, why are you doing that? To the audience, everybody watching the audience, I don't know if anybody knows, but Public Enemy put out a special on a documentary on PBS, Fight the Power, a History of Hip Hop. It's been out since the 31st of January. I finally had a chance to watch it and check it out, and it is definitely dope. They go deep. Yeah, they go deep. They go real deep. It's on YouTube because PBS does their stuff for free on YouTube because it's a donated channel, so people donate. They make donations to it, and that's how they keep the lights on. So they sort of like was YouTube before YouTube. But they did that fight, that fight, Fight the Power, History of Hip Hop, phenomenal. phenomenal. It was well put together. Chuck D's been promoting it, lately. I
What's the
guess
name
because
of
Black
it?
History Month. It's
What's the
called
name
Fight
of
the
it?
Power. Fight the Power: A History of Hip Hop.
On YouTube?
No. PBS. It's on YouTube, but
Oh,
type
okay.
it in and it'll come up on the PBS channel on YouTube. And it's just Chuck D exploring just the political awakenings over the past 50 years. There's a bunch of rap stars on there, cultural commentators. He actually shows hip hop's social conscious roots, from all the way from the message to Fight the Power 2020. And
Mm.
he also goes into how he comes up with the Black CNN, like how hip hop became the Black CNN, which is
Right.
true. He talks about that heavily. He also talked. He also talked about how he came up with
Your
in the
power
song
supply.
"Fight the Power." How how it was like Elvis was a hero the most, but he
Yeah,
never
yeah,
meant. He was talking. He said
yeah.
it wasn't a diss to Elvis. There was an old rap. There was an old record. He said that he listened to and he called it a race record.
I
And
felt
he
like
said
that was a diss to them saying that Elvis was the king of rock, or that rock and roll was white
mm-mm,
music.
nope,
I
not at
thought
all,
they were saying like rock and
not at
roll is
all.
black
He's
music.
Nope. He said there was an old race record back in the day that they were dissing, like black music. And one of the things they talked about was Muhammad Ali and somebody else. And then there's a guy, and it's done just like Flav and Chuck do it. And the guy says, Mother F Ali and somebody else. And then the guy goes on. So he said that always stuck in his head. So he said when they did Do the Right Thing, I mean not Do the Right Thing, Do the Right Thing, and they did the Fight the Power joint, he said, he remembered that. And so he said that's where he got that line from. And so
Mm,
he said it wasn't a diss to Elvis, it was a diss to the white culture. Like, like
right.
letting them know,
That's
like,
what I mean.
you
Yeah.
know,
That's what I mean.
yeah. So he said that just stuck in my head. So I was just like, yeah, like Elvis. And he said Flav was like, Mother F him and John Wayne. And then he
Mm-hmm.
said, but if you listen to what I say, he said, I'm black and I'm proud. And already I'm hyped because I'm Ant. Most of my heroes don't appear on those stamps. And so he was like, he said, that's what I was getting at. Like,
Right.
I'm black and I'm proud. I'm proud of this music. But it's a phenomenal documentary. And I haven't seen a really good documentary in a long time. But it
Yeah,
was
I'm about
fun
to
to
watch that
watch.
shit. I
Yeah, and
love
it's celebrating
documentaries,
50 years.
and
Me too.
I've
Me too.
seen every hip hop documentary known to man. So if anybody ever tells me of a new one, I'm all over it.
Well, here's one for you in the audience. Fight the Power, A History of Hip Hop. It's already out. You can check it out on YouTube. Because you're not gonna be able to catch it on PBS. I don't even know if PBS has a well, if you got it on demand, you might be able to watch it on demand. But that's two ways to watch it. But you can definitely spin it up on YouTube and check it out. It's just definitely, if you're a hip hop head, listen to hip hop. And
Yeah.
Chuck D goes all over the place, man. Like, I would love to sit down and just have a talk with Chuck D, man, about hip hop, man, just for hours.
Yeah.
Because
I'll get
bro,
him
he
on the
went on
show.
about a lot, man. Let's do it, man. Let's get him.
I'll have
I'm
him
on
on.
his Twitter feed. I'm on his Twitter feed. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Let me call. Let me call. Here, let me hit him up.
yeah, hit him up. Hit him Flav up,
Pull him
man.
up.
Hit him Flav. Yeah. But he
Yo,
also
Chuck.
goes into
What up, Chuck? What up, homie? Yeah, this your boy Reno. Oh, word. Yeah, I'm full of shit.
yeah. But he also goes into radio. He talks about one thing he talked about that was real interesting. If you are a hip hop head and you listen to hip hop, he was talking about how when he came on the scene, Chuck said he never wanted to be an MC. He never wanted to be
Yeah.
in a group or anything. He said he
Right.
wanted to be a radio host. Like he said, I wanted to do radio. Like that's what I wanted to do. And he
Mhm.
was like, but he said everybody was like, nah, y'all dope. Like the stuff y'all doing. He said we were making music, we putting stuff out here and there, because he had a point. Rap in the '80s and the '90s, it was all about singles, especially in the
Right.
'80s. It was a
Right.
single-driven genre of music, and if you had a hot single and a dope single, you made millions.
Yep.
And he was like, once we started putting out albums, he said Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin was the ones that hooked up and started putting out quality, dope rap albums with just more than one or two songs on it. And
Right.
he gave a lot of credit. And I really didn't realize it until I went back and I started really looking and checking and thinking about it. He gave a lot of credit to LL. He gave a lot of credit to LL Cool J. And he said LL
He
taught him
deserves it.
a lot. Yeah, he said he learned a lot from LL. He said LL is really, like he said, if anybody should have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, any rapper, the first rapper that should have went in there before Run DMC was LL Cool J.
Yeah, he
And
was
he
like
said
the
that's
first
his.
real superstar. Mhm.
Yeah, he said LL was a solo artist. He paved the way. He said LL, when you hear LL's run, he come at you 100 miles a minute. Like
Yeah.
he ain't slowing it down. He said he got that middle tone rap, and he just go at
And,
you. And
and,
he
and
said,
he was a hard MC at first. He wasn't the lover dude at first. Like he
nah,
was
he
hard
would,
MC.
nah.
Until
But he
he did
said
that I
LL.
need love. That's when he
And
that's
he said LL did that to extend his show. I said,
right.
huh? I was thinking, he said because L would be on stage jumping around, acting crazy. He said after a while you get out of breath up there. He said so he had the slow
Like
songs
a
in
jelly
there.
bean.
Right. He said that would slow down the show where he could catch his breath. So he would, going to I Need Love and sit down and, hit the
Yeah.
joint, catch his breath, get his energy back, and then pop up and then be like, my radio, start running around the stage again.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, that makes sense, man. He
Yeah,
broke
yeah.
down a lot, man. I didn't know also that he turned down signing to Def Jam for years. He said we could have been one of the first groups on Def Jam.
Mm.
He said, but we turned it down for years. He said, I turned it down for years. I forgot why I can't remember exactly how he said it, why he wound up signing, but he said eventually he wound up signing for him, signing with him. He said he was kind of reluctant to do it, but he did it. But he said when he did it, it kind of worked out for him in the end. He said it really worked out for us in the end. But he
Right.
said had I not did it, Public Enemy wouldn't have been as big as it was. It would have been big, but not as big. And he said we were opening for a lot of people. And I remember I went to a Beastie Boys concert and they were opening for the Beastie Boys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it goes into all of that, man. You gotta watch it. It's a good
Check it out. Check
documentary.
it
One of the
out.
best ones I've seen in a long time, man. Fight the
Yeah,
Power, History of
check
Hip Hop
that
on
shit out,
PBS.
bro.
Check it out.
But yeah, these are some of the Kang pictures. The Council of Kangs. Excellent
Yeah,
grasp.
that's what the post end credit scene looked like, just like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, go back, Reno. Go back,
Little
Reno.
Council of Kangs
That was
calls
the exact scene they showed. Right there, the one you showed before. Right, yeah, because they had the Kang with the gorilla face right there. That was
Yeah.
that was the exact scene they showed when you look at it.
Now that's Rama Tut in the back, and then Immortus in the front, and then the guy off to the other side, the more futuristic looking guy. We don't
Is
know
that
who
Superior
he is yet.
Kang? Is that Superior
Could-
Kang?
No, he could be Prime Kang because we haven't seen Prime Kang yet, or he could just be another variant, just to show that there's other variants. Maybe we'll see him, maybe not. But let me move that thing off there real quick. Just wait, come back here. I says, come back here. Get over here. Get over here. There it is. So yeah, he's got a bald head. He's got doesn't have much of a helmet or anything like that. Looks like maybe like a headpiece of some sort. But yeah, and then that's the Timekeepers. So this is the Timekeepers from the comics. This is the Forever Crystal. So you see that crystal there? It's kind of like a weird breakup of like the Star of David, the Forever Crystal. That's sort of like the item that they had at the end credit scene. That will probably end up being a major plot device. Scarlet Centurion, just not in red. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's what I loved about Guardians of the Galaxy was it was good, and then the jokes were there, but they were good jokes. They were tasteful. They weren't over the top. They weren't, but like it was good, and but that's as far as I want for Marvel comedy. Anything it should be that and or more serious. It should never get more goofy. Love and Thunder obviously is way more goofy. A lot of these silly ass shows and shit, the comedy level is just way over the top. The comics aren't like that. They're called comics, yeah, but they're not comedy. Most of them are pretty serious.
And the humor is
There's a joke,
well written, if anything.
and there is jokes,
That's the
but
other
it's
thing.
well done.
Humor is not well written in these movies. It's like for children.
Right.
It's just kind of like, or it's just like, let's just throw a bunch of sexual innuendos, which is not really funny unless you do it right. So
again, immature. Again, that's immature. It's for kids.
Yeah.
It's still for kids even, but yeah, it's unfortunate, but hopefully they learned some shit this time. We'll see. It remains to be seen, but they're acting as if they learned some shit. But speaking of comedy, and I was a little worried, but Bill Murray was in here as Lord Krylar, one of the oddest characters from Marvel Comics to ever have been given an on-screen debut in the MCU. Featured in this movie as a former ally to Janet Van Dyne in her, 30 years in the quantum realm. Bill Murray comes in as Lord Krylar. It's a brief, but it's an important part of the movie. But it's definitely weird that Krylar was the comic character that they chose for this adaptation. You have Cassie, right? She attempts to send the signal down to the quantum realm, but it inadvertently sends the whole family to the subatomic universe. And as such, Janet's secret history from her time in the quantum realm is basically revealed, laid open for everybody, and including her ties with Kang the Conqueror and Bill Murray's character. And here in the origins of Lord Krylar's role and how he compares to the original version from the comics. Strangely enough, he only appeared one time in the comics, and didn't, he's got horns, like he has like a helmet and horns and shit and a cape. He's like green, he's got like a Fu Manchu mustache, but he was just in it once. He was in the Incredible Hulk number 156 in 1972. And Bruce Banner's Hulk visits the microverse, so he is from the microverse again, not the quantum, realm, the microverse, which is what it is in the comics. And in an attempt to sort of reunite with his lost love, Jirala, and the princess of the subatomic realm of Kai, because remember, there's all these different realms in the subatomic realm, but the Marvel Comics or microverse, is under threat from Visis, the vagabond, Jirela's cousin, who seeks the crown for himself, and as such, Visis forges an alliance with Krylar, who is the Lord of the Isle of Assassins. And Krylar, like, again, this is one of these characters that I was like, oh wow, that's gonna be interesting. Like, but Krylar always intended to betray Visis, the vagabond, anticipated by the treachery that enslaved Krylar first, before he could do it, and that made the Incredible Hulk 156 is Krylar's first and only appearance. So that's it. He's in and he's out. He gets killed. But it should also be noted that the microverse is essentially the comics version of the MCU, or of the quantum realm. So it makes sense that they use this character from the quantum realm, I guess. But likewise, Hulk was similarly only able to access the subatomic universe from Pym's particles, the Pym particles. And as such, this is likely a core reason why Krylar was chosen to have this role. But it's definitely someone that most people will have never heard of, and it does seem as though there would have been other characters from the microverse with longer histories that lived longer than one issue that would have fit better. But in the MCU, Bill Murray's Lord Krylar initially is presented as the old friend of Janet and one of her allies that she helped, that she sought out help from when she was dealing with Kang before, and his power was growing and all of that after Kang was exiled to the quantum realm too. And although she had initially helped Kang repair his time chair and his multiversal energy core, she eventually discovered that his true self and his dark past, you know, having destroyed, you know, infinite universes and trillions of lives and all of this, and the, you know, that motivated Janet to blow up his core and basically, you know, battle him for years as a freedom fighter before Hank rescues her and brings her home, as we see in Ant-Man and the Wasp in the second one. But and that would have been great. Like, I would have loved to seen that play out. But Krylar is one of the first characters that Janet seeks out when the Ant family gets sucked into the quantum realm in the movie. And not only did they fight Kang together, but her and Krylar became lovers during Janet's decades in the subatomic universe. But, you know, he admits that, you know, quite a lot has happened, and a lot of time has, you know, passed, and shit changed, and you know, having become a lord now, it's implied that, you know, his increased status has come via an alliance with Kang himself. And, you know, he basically has, you know, been a traitor, and, you know, at the very least, he agreed to turn Janet and her family in. And so it seems as though the movie needed someone that Janet thought she could trust, and Krylar's betrayal motivated her to, you know, finally admit her past to Hank and Hope and come clean and shit. But, you know, although their penchant for treachery is the same, the similarities between the comic Krylar and this, somebody was like, who is this? And they just were asking me all about this, and you know, I could say it's this guy from the comics, from the microverse, named Krylar, but that's pretty much the only similarity. So, but in the, you know, because in the comics he's got green skin, like most of the citizens in the microverse all have green skin in that kingdom of Kai, and he's also in charge of an island full of assassins who hoard advanced technologies and weapons and all of that shit. And thanks to his first and only appearance in the Marvel universe, there's not a lot to go on in terms of adapting him, you know, for the movie, meaning there wasn't much for Bill Murray's character to take from the comic version other than the name. He pretty much, you know, it's pretty much a made up guy, but it's not too. Because in the MCU, he's living this life of luxury. He's got his own ship and all the, you know, the fly gear, and he's just pimped out. And, you know, although he was once part of the Quantum Realm's group of freedom fighters, you know, running and gunning, you know, in the gutter, you know, that those days are behind him now. He's you know, he's lamping now. And likewise, it's possible that he potentially became heartbroken after Janet left with Hank, and probably this could be some sort of revenge or whatever, and might explain his willingness to, you know, broker the deal with Kang and you know, turn her in, and, you know, to help maintain order, I guess, among the citizens of the quantum realm. But, you know, Bill Murray's version has very little in common with the comics Krylar, aside from what it really does is it links the quantum realm to the microverse, you know, in the comics. It confirms the connection. You know, people point out the similarities and shit. They've literally taken a character from the microverse pretty much just because he's from a character from the microverse, and they probably chose him because he didn't have much of a story and they could easily just create a character out of it. But it also tells us that the microverse in the quantum realm are one and the same. And yeah, man, yeah, he probably won't be back. I mean, I don't think he'll be back. That character, Bill Murray, I don't know, but not that character. Pretty sure. Probably be a one-shot character for a one-shot role.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. But Paul Bettany's new Vision Disney Plus show gets a promising update if you're into that. Yeah, the upcoming Marvel Plus. Yeah, it's a Disney Plus joint. It's focused on Paul Bettany's Vision, who we last saw in WandaVision, and the update, I guess, back in October of 2022. We were, you know, surprised by a report claiming that everyone's favorite android would be getting his own Disney Plus series called Vision Quest. Past the name, though, we didn't get much else about the project. Another significant piece of relevant news is that there is a possibility for Wanda to appear in the series. If you find that to be good news or relevant, if she doesn't show up in Agatha Coven of Chaos, which again, if you're interested, I'm not really interested in that. Why they're doing it, I really
that's
don't know.
the show nobody cares about.
Because they can't.
Why they're doing
You can't do Wanda. You can't do Wanda, guys, because she died. And to bring her back, that means you have to retro a lot of stuff, which means plot holes and things of that nature. So they feel that she was just a strong character to carry on the MCU legacy.
What do you mean Wanda died?
And
Wanda didn't
she died at the end of Multiverse of Madness, which I don't really think she's really dead, but it looks as if she died. Yeah,
she died,
but
yeah,
technically
she did, so
it does look as if she died.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the show. Because I'm thinking of Agatha being a spinoff of the show because Agatha's a character from that show.
Right. No, I'm saying they're doing it. I think they're doing it because they want another character that's like Wanda, and people like that character. Yeah. Right. They want to do another, but you can't use Wanda because she's like supposedly dead. And people people like witches, man. I mean, when you talk about witch movies, people love them, man. What was the one with Michelle Pfeiffer? What's the one with Michelle Pfeiffer in them?
Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah.
And then there's the Craft.
Which is the Craft. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's right now there's something on called Mayfair Witches, which is based on Anne Rice's.
Don't forget Hocus Pocus.
I have one of those books.
Oh yes. They made it.
Yeah, see, look, Sada came alive when I said Hocus Pocus. She said, "Oh, hold on, my friend."
Yeah, I've actually never seen that.
You like Hocus Pocus?
You never seen Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, no, I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
I know they made a sequel, but yeah, I've never watched either one.
Yeah.
I never watched. I never watched Hocus Pocus either, but it was big if they did a sequel.
Oh yeah, but I mean they did it like recently, like maybe like last year, so they were like a couple of decades late, but they did one.
Don't forget the Wizard of Oz. People loved Glinda the Good Witch. They loved the Wicked Witch of the East. Don't forget.
But I mean, they're just big.
Seventh Son.
They're in right now. Right now, it's current shit going on right now. Witch shows going on. You had the Witches show. There was that show called Salem. There's been a lot of witch shows.
Yeah, there's been a witch shows. Yeah, people love them, bro.
Yeah,
Beautiful Creatures. Remember, people was hard. It was hard on that. That came out. It was hard on Beautiful Creatures.
I never said what the update was. The promising update for the Vision show. My bad.
No, go ahead.
The journalist, the insider, Charles Murphy, did a post. His promising update on Vision Quest, stating that it's beginning filming in 2024. That fans should expect Vision-related characters, and hearing how Vision Quest is going to be, beginning production this next year is fairly promising. Seeing as just the other day, Marvel Studios Kevin Feige revealed that Disney Plus shows are on a slower path, so they're not going to be giving us a shit ton of these shows. In response to a confused fan's reply, he elaborated a tiny bit more. He said, "I mean, it'll have characters that comic book fans might associate with Vision." End quote. So whatever that means to you. And while these two tweets are extremely vague, Murphy is likely alluding to the android's family, who was introduced in Tom King's 2015 miniseries, Vision, where it's got the whole family, and they're all, robots. But he's got the wife named Virginia, his son Vin, and the daughter Viv. It's Virginia, Vin, and Viv, and he's Vision, and the dog Sparky. But a previous rumor did claim that the series would be introducing Viv while also building the foundation for a proper Young Avengers project in the future. So it'll also lead into Young Avengers. But like you were saying, Stu, Wanda's not there. So it's Vision and his new family.
Oh, great.
He makes a family.
Yeah.
No, we're not laughing at you. We're not
No,
laughing.
no,
It's
no.
just
You
we
said,
we saw the right. Yeah, we saw the
I
writing
didn't
on
think
the
you were
walls.
laughing at me.
oh yeah, no.
No. We just saw the
Family.
writing
I
on the
didn't think you were
walls.
laughing at
Like
me.
no,
I know what
not
you're
in a
laughing
bad
at.
way. It's just
I know what you're laughing at.
yeah,
I'm laughing with you.
yeah,
But it seems that the studio
yeah.
really wanted to get Paul Bettany's character back on the playing field, basically. After all, he's just
They
flew
did.
up
They
and
did,
away at
Reno.
the end of Wanda's
Yeah,
vision.
they
He
did,
just
Reno. They really
cruised
did.
to where he went. He just flew
Yeah.
off. We didn't know what the fuck he was doing. But it comes to when it comes to the potential introduction of Vision's family here, there is one key character who does make a big impact. His daughter Viv, because she is even she goes on to become a member of the Champions, which is a team of younger heroes. And it'd be a perfect character to introduce right now. Could easily be a part of the eventual Young Avengers project, and that is if they ever start development on one. But yeah, the and then Marvel Studios' next Disney Plus project is going to be Secret Invasion, though. Is currently rumored to drop in May.
Yeah, because we don't even have a date on that, and that's supposed to come this year. So I'm a little worried. Like,
yeah,
I don't have a date.
yeah, sometime in May, right? I don't know. I just know sometime in May, maybe. We hope.
Yeah, I think that one and Loki season 2 are the only two confirmed to come out this year, and then the rest is like, in the air for
right
wherever.
Yeah, the next is you'll get it. You'll get it when you get it. That's how that's how they all go.
But yeah,
Loki was good.
Been delayed a bunch of times, man. But yeah,
man. And I want to see it. I want to see it too. Yeah, I really want to see Secret
May
Invasion.
is good enough for me. May is good enough for me. May's fine. Yeah,
May's fine.
May's fine. They don't have to tell me what day. As long as sometime in May, I could. That's cool.
Yeah, probably be after Guardians releases because that's May 5th. So
yeah, and Mandalorians is March 1st, I think. Right, premiere February, March. Yeah, March 1st. Yeah,
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Mandalorian is March 1st. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be on board to watching that.
Hell
hard. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Watching that shit hard, thoroughly. Ironheart, Echo. Well, but they're all getting Agatha. What If? Delay. Ironheart, man, I'm not.
I
These
don't
shows,
care.
I don't.
What about the Marvels? When is doesn't the Marvels? The Marvels come out this year or next year?
June, I think this year. They had a poster. They released a poster for it. Hold on, the Marvels. When is that coming out? It had it on the poster. June. It's definitely June. Oh, I'm sorry. November 10th. So is that this year? Yeah, this year. November of this year, which is a very odd month for a release. But
that is very odd. Yeah. I mean, well, wait, is it coming out late November, Sada?
November 10th, so early November.
That might be good because we got a lot of holidays in November. Kids got a lot of time off of school, Thanksgiving. Yeah. They're looking at the because you're gonna have it's an all female MCU special. So
I'm excited
they're gonna be banking.
The Emilia Clarke being in Secret Invasion, man. That's my.
I'm excited too, man. I want to see Secret Invasion. I want to see Secret Invasion, Rena. I want to see something from
more
it. Like,
press around that. I don't know why it doesn't have as much press as it does, considering the story in the comics. But hey.
Yeah, and Emilia Clarke, Game of Thrones fans, that's Khaleesi right there. She's so fine. Oh, she's so fine. Game of Thrones. But anyway, so she's in the thing. She was talking about like she was scared of how the Marvel security team, like, I guess, rushed her about on talk shows, like leaking information and shit like that. So yeah, they're not trying to reveal a lot. I don't know, Sada. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they feel like any information about it at all will spoil something or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Hopefully they start doing some press though, since
I would like to see
this year.
I mean, you could at least give us a poster.
Yeah, like images. A little poster to
Yeah.
Aquarius for a couple months.
Yeah, something. I think fans are making all these posters I'm seeing.
Ugh, the fan made posters are just so good. So
But
good.
I don't, you know
who
what?
is
It's
Amelia
never
Clark
gonna.
gonna be? That's what I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Um,
That's a good question.
yeah, because we might get Jessica Drew, Spider Woman.
Mm,
That would be
mm.
that's what some of the suspicion is, that she might be playing Jessica Drew, Spider Woman, which is a weird character. But in the storyline of Secret Invasion, Spider Woman returned to the superhero fold after a long hiatus and joined the Avengers.
Mm.
So, but it was later revealed that the real Jessica Drew was captured by the shape-shifting Skrulls, and the Spider Woman fighting alongside the Avengers is really a spy, and it's actually the queen, the Skrull queen, Varenki, and so that may be who Amelia Clark's going to play. That would be dope. One point to consider, however, is that the Skrulls in the MCU are not villains, right? In the comics, they're bad guys. In the MCU, they're refugees being hunted by the Kree, and they're working with Nick Fury to establish an intergalactic defense for Earth. If Amelia Clark is playing the dual role of Jessica Drew and the Skrull Queen, some changes will probably be made for her participation in the events of the MCU version of Secret Secret Avengers. But one on that note, another popular theory about Clark's role that I would be equally happy about, maybe even more so, is that she's going to play Abigail Brand, which is the top agent director of SWORD, which is the sort of intergalactic sister agency of SHIELD. And Abigail Brand played a very pivotal role in pushing back the Skrull infiltration during the Secret Invasion in the comics. And at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, it was established in the end credits that that Nick Fury and Maria Hill, Peter Parker interacted with, were really Nick Fury's Skrull allies from the Captain Marvel film. And meanwhile, Fury is in orbit on a space station overseeing the establishment of the MCU version of SWORD. So in the comics, SWORD is like, it's a space station that orbits and protects the Earth. But a big reason why Abigail Brand is an important figure that I'm interested to see personally, the fact that she's a mutant. That's what I'm. And with her she's also an alien. She's half mutant, half alien. And with her extraterrestrial father and mutant mother, she had an inherent connection to major corners of the Marvel universe, like the X-Men and the other mutant characters that we've yet to see in the MCU, except for the revised origins and red herrings like the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and shit. But Abigail Brand could be a key linking element to bring the mutant population after the Fox acquisition shit is done. So I'm even more I'm like more hoping that she's Abigail Brand than Jessica Drew, but either one would be dope, I think. Because Jessica Drew's cool. She's not like a female Spider-Man in by any means. She's not at all like Spider-Man. Totally different power set, completely different.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah. But Game of Thrones actors in the MCU is like with the Disney Plus show success, right? Like, the Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier, or Wanda and all of that. More projects like Secret Invasion are continuing to buzz among the fan base. And while Amelia Clark did not reveal much about her role in the series, plot details are the actress is clearly enjoying her time in the MCU. Coincidentally, she's joining the growing number of other Game of Thrones alumni that have been added to the MCU with her contemporaries. Peter Dinklage, who played the dwarf Iltiri in Infinity War. Kit Harington, who got into Eternals as Black Knight. So it's been a few. People don't realize Game of Thrones characters that have already jumped in to the MCU. But yeah, we'll get Ben Mendelsohn, Samuel, Amelia Clark, Ben Kingsley, Christopher McDonald. I'm trying to think, but it's gonna be it's some good. It's a dope cast. But You know, if when we ever gonna see it, I don't know, but it would be dope. Be dope if we get Abigail Brand.
Mm,
Yeah, she's a
that would
mutant.
be dope. That'd be
Mhm.
super dope.
Yes, sir.
That would be super dope. Also,
See
and
the
we
new
got
Punisher War Journal, the Punisher War Journal.
yes, yes, I have. I bought it. I haven't read it. Um, matter of fact, it's in my well. I ain't gonna pick it up till tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday. I won't be able to get it till Wednesday. I'll be able to get it till
Yeah, it's
Wednesday.
dope.
So
It's dope. It's dope. It's like after coming
you
home
keep
from the
hearing,
war. Yeah,
keep
it's Frank
hearing.
Castle coming home from the war. He's trying to improve his mental health, and it's like you know, veteran shit, and but basically, yeah, I think it's dope. It'll be cool. What did they? Let me see if I can find the synopsis. The origin of the war before he was Punisher, Frank Castle was a husband, father, and Marine, not necessarily in that order. In this story, from between the pages of Punisher, Frank tries to come home, but finds it is impossible to leave the war behind him. So it's a lot of him sitting talking with the therapist, and it's like a lot of scenery like that. But it's deep. It's gonna be deep, man. It looks really good.
Hmm. Yeah, I gotta check it out this week because I bought this week. I bought Catwoman, one shot.
Mm.
I picked up also. I don't know, man. I'm on the fence about the Spider Man. What is it? The Craven Wars, whatever. I'm on the fence about picking that up. Uh,
Mm.
I don't know.
About the daughter of Galactus.
I'm on the fence still too. On the fence. On the
So the
fence.
daughter
On the
of
fence.
Galactus, she
On the fence.
once revealed that she considers Thor's hammer one of the ultimate weapons of the Marvel universe. And there's this new book. It's called In Galactica, Daughter of Galactus, #1. Uh, Galactica comes face to face with Thor and Mjolnir, as she considers eating Mjolnir in an effort to feed her hunger. And while she
Okay.
decides against she decides against devouring the hammer, she does acknowledge Thor's mighty weapon as one of the ultimate weapons of the galaxy. But yeah, it's Galactus's daughter. It's very cartoony. Um, the art style. It's interesting because it's Galactus and stuff. I probably won't pick it up, but they Galactus, well, they call her uh Gally. She doesn't have an extensive history in Marvel, but only two non-canon appearances in the comics, despite her great cosmic powers. She possesses similar powers to her pops on a lesser scale, but she also has his cosmic hunger. But instead of feeding on entire planets in the name of cosmic balance, she fed on cosmic organisms that weren't native to Earth, making her the true opposite of her father in the Marvel universe. But when Gally was desperate to feed her hunger, she considered eating the hammer of Thor. But yeah, she's I guess she's like more of like a hero, like a superhero. I guess she kicks it. I don't know, but I don't know. She's fighting Thor here, but she's like kicking it with looks like she's hanging out with Wolverine and them. But again, it's such a cartoony vibe. The design, I can't really tell if they're mad or not. But yeah. But let me see if I can get y'all a picture. Yeah. Daughter of Galactus. Mad cartoony.
Oh yeah, I've seen that art style before. Where have I seen that before?
Reminds me of anime. I mean, in a way.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking about. The big eyes and everything.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's got a similarity to anime in some ways, but we talked a bit about the Young Avengers coming into the MCU, and a lot of people were curious about them. And I think there's a lot of stuff you can check out. There's Young Avengers omnibuses are going to get a second printing from Marvel very soon, and which is good timing. One book includes Alan Heinberg and Jim Chung, the Jim Chung run, and the other one contains the Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey run. And the first volume was published last October, but I understand that Marvel expects it to sell out fast, and the second volume already has. But I wonder, why this demand for these books has come. It's probably just people expecting them to come to the MCU, but they were the Young Avengers were created for Marvel Comics by Heinberg and Chung back in 2005, so they're relatively new. They're made up of teenage characters who appeared to have links to the Avengers, right? Even if they weren't exactly what people thought they were.
Thought they were, yeah.
Gillen and
Didn't they have an
McKelvey.
anime? Didn't they have an anime for it or something like that? Young Avengers?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Marvel animation, I don't follow really. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know.
Good. Hang on, huh?
No, it has not.
Hang on, let me check the
Gillen and
archive.
McKelvey, they relaunched the book and they switched the stuff up. And the series has a reputation for including gay characters. That's sort of what I think is the big draw for the MCU right now. It's sort of the reputation, and to the extent that to the end of the Gillen and McKelvey series, which began in 2012, they joked that they all were gay or queer, actually. But the first team was made up of Iron Lad, which is an early Kang, Patriot, the grandson of Isaiah Bradley, Hulk King, which is the son of Captain Marvel, Wiccan, the son of Scarlet Witch and Vision, Hawkeye has Kate Bishop, Stature, Cassie Lang, and the daughter of Ant-Man, and later Speed was the other son of Scarlet Witch and Vision. And the second team saw a young version of Loki, America Chavez, Marvel Boy, and Prodigy join remaining members of that earlier team, and who have had a few revival appearances since. But I think it's notable that Cassie Lang, she's now got a prominent role in QUANTUMANIA that we just saw, and other characters. Kate Bishop had her deal in the show. America Chavez had her introduction in Multiverse. Eli Bradley, obviously from that we talked about a lot, and Scarlet Witch kids, obviously in the show as well. But other young characters like Ms. Marvel, Ironheart, Scar, Shuri, Prince T'Challa, Love, and more have popped up in a movie or a TV series here and there, and they could be adapted as Young Avengers as well. And I wonder if Young Avengers may be popping up somewhere in the next couple of weeks in some show or some movie on the way. But it's the Avengers #1 from 2005 right now is $160 on eBay.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. My goodness.
And the second #1, the reiteration that I was saying when they redid it is about $20 for that #1, which came out in 2013. But yeah, the first Young Avengers, you ain't gonna get it for less than 150, but it's about 160. And that's raw. That's not slabbed up and graded. You're gonna slabbed up graded version. You're gonna probably pay $400. No. And again, it's just because people are hearing that, they're going to be in the MCU. That's basically that's how new comics get their value right now, is if they're going to be in the MCU or not. And that's what people speculate on. And once we find out that a character's may be in something, live action or whatever, then everybody runs and tries to get that character's first appearance and everything before the prices go up. Because once they announce it, the prices go up. Once they show the trailer and it's official, prices go way up. If the movie's good, the prices continue to go up. But if the movie sucks, that shit plummets. And this is the thing you guys got to watch out for. I remember people were buying all the Morbius shit they could, bro. I'm talking about all the Morbius comics were blowing up. Everybody wanted Morbius. The movie came out, and you can't fucking sell a Morbius comic right now because the movie sucked, regardless of how good the comics are. They don't care.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
man.
that was.
It's like you said, FOMO. It's like you said, FOMO. Fear of missing out. Well, look what I found.
What did you?
I was right. Boom.
Yeah, that movie is great. That is great. Next Avengers, Heroes of Tomorrow, so good. That's a great.
Who are the characters in that?
So it's
you got
James,
Zari, James, Hawkeye, Pym, Turin,
Zari, daughter of Thor. The villain is Ultron, and then the only original Avengers left are Vision and Iron Man in that movie. Ultron killed the rest.
And the Hulk.
Yes, and the Hulk. Sorry, yeah, that's a great movie. Actually, guys, go watch that. I'm sure it's on YouTube for free. Go watch it. It's so good.
That's not Young Avengers that we're talking.
No. That's a different team, but. Yeah.
This is
that's
future
version. It's like the Hollywood version. Yeah, it's like the kid version of Young Avengers or the Hollywood version of Young Avengers because they're all young.
Not Young Avengers at all.
Nah, it's not Young Avengers. It ain't the official. Nah, it ain't the official. Yeah, it's different characters, but it's the Hollywood version. But it's still good. It's still good. It's still good.
That's a banger film.
And that's the
I wanted.
Right. That's the closest thing we got to Young Avengers so far.
Yeah.
So
pretty much, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it might be what they adapt into the Young Avengers. But yeah, I mean, longer it goes on, the more audiences begin to see the problems with the MCU, but especially where the characters are concerned, and these different, them being different characters or whatever, doesn't seem to be like. I don't put it past them. But the MCU might be, making attempts to sort of solve these problems and fix this shit for the future, but giving new members of the Avengers and putting these different, characters. But the solution could exist in the Avengers as kids. I mean, that's kind of what they've already given us the characters. I mean, they've already given us Kate Bishop. We saw them in Wiccan, and all these characters have already been introduced in the MCU. So we know who the characters are going to be.
Yeah. They just got some work to do to just make them like actual characters.
And I believe right now with the mixed reviews on Ant-Man that a lot is riding on Guardians because that's the next movie to come out. So a lot's riding on Guardians. If Guardians gets the same reception as Ant-Man, it's going to be a problem. And maybe James Gunn might win this war.
But even if Guardians ends up being phenomenal, which I think it will be, it still isn't going to make people think. It's not going to give people hope for the MCU just because of the fact that Guardians movies are always great. Like even when the MCU sucks, we know that the Guardians movies are going to be good. But what else y'all got?
Right.
Yeah.
But they messed up with Thor. Thor was like,
that was the nail in the coffin for piss poor MCU films. That was the nail in the coffin, really.
And because I really thought that was gonna be so good, dude. I really did. I thought
trailers, man.
Shit. And
well, then think about it. We thought Thor was gonna be good, and it was bad, right? And then we all kind of was kind of skeptical about the Flash, and that might turn out to be the best movie we've seen all year.
It might be.
That'd be wild.
I won't be seeing it, but I hope it's good for you guys because I know I won't be seeing it.
Wait, whoa, Sada, wait, whoa.
No, but if we said it's good, would you go see it?
Time out. Why you?
Good.
What? I am not
going to see. If we give it at least 4 couches, will you go check it out?
It depends. I will take that into account, but I also got to take the people that I'm subscribed to who are probably going to go see this movie. I'm going to see what they think about it, and then because I'm already not interested, so I need to see.
But why do you want to see what they think about it before you see what you think?
Because
about
I don't care. I'm already not interested in seeing the film myself, so I'm gonna go on what other people think about it. Like I don't, because like so Flashpoint is just like so. It's just so many things that I don't understand with that movie. So
you would take the word.
So look, Sada.
These other
people.
I would take your own. Probably take your word. I'd probably take your word and the other people. It's a combination.
So look, let's do this. All right, so look, let's do this. Let's try. Let's do an experiment.
I'm gonna say if you'll like it.
Let's do it. Let's do an experiment, Sada. How about you do this? How about on opening day, you play your schedule, and you go see Flash, and then see what you think about it. Before you even get anybody else's opinion, and then let's see.
That's brave, right?
If what you thought in your head. Yeah, if what you thought in your head would be different than what they review,
I'd love
and you do
that
yourself. You can review it yourself.
Already I'm so disinterested in a Flashpoint film that's missing so many critical elements of the Flashpoint story. I'm already checked out. Then it's the fact that this movie is here simply the reboot. That's it, and that sucks because if we're gonna get a Flashpoint film, that should be a buildup of years worth of storytelling and character development, and it's not because they have to fix this atrocious universe, which I can understand. But that doesn't mean I gotta go pay to see that. So, I'm just kind of I'm just so. And then the star is a menace, so I'm just kind of I'm very checked out with this.
Well, that's valid because even if it's a great movie, it's not going to be a great Flashpoint adaptation. That I know.
Yeah.
I really want a great Flashpoint adaptation. It's not going to be that, but it might be a good movie though. I'm gonna see it might be a good movie, but I'm already checked out of it not being a great Flashpoint. I already know that's not happening. But can it be a good movie? I don't know. Will its other merits save it? I'll see.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what you guys think about it come June because I want to see what people think about it. I'm probably still not gonna go see it. No, because my friend already offered me a ticket to see the movie, and I'm not going.
Matter of fact, original. Yes. If I buy her ticket, will you go see it?
No,
you're getting them for free. You can't turn down anything for free.
Her friend already offers. You turned it down.
I know, and I told him I was like, "No, I'm not going."
Wow, thanks. That's hard.
But I will be here for your review. I will be here for it. I'm ready. I'm pumped.
So what about Aquaman? Will you go see? Will you go see Aquaman?
But she's not the only one, though. You're not the only one that you might see Aquaman.
Okay. Yeah, I might see Aquaman. I'm not that one. I'm not counting out. I might go see that.
You're not the only person that I personally know that is refusing to even give Flash a chance. Spade, our boy Spade, he's not.
Oh yeah, Spade.
He's pissed. He's done. He's done.
Yeah, Spade definitely.
He ain't even giving none of James Gunn's movies a chance. He's done with DC films. Period. So I know.
Spade is scorned, and I don't blame him. But
if I was a mega DC fan, I might be as pissed as Spade. But because I wasn't previously a big DC guy.
Right.
This stuff is all kind of new anyway to me, so I'm taking it as it comes. It's good or it's not.
Right. And I can understand that.
Well, I'm a big DC guy, and I want to see it. I do want to see it, but I don't. I want to see it, and I'm gonna tell you why. No, I do, but I don't. I'm gonna break it down. I do want to see it because I like James Gunn. Number one, and I know he has something to do with all the reshoots and.
But Gunn ain't do Flash.
Yeah, he didn't do it, but I know he has something to do with the pace of the movie. Whatever the movie was before he got involved, I know he has something to do with what we got now. So I know that for the fact.
Yeah, he
Number
did
two,
replace Cavill.
yeah.
I
Number
was about to
two,
say because he ripped stuff out in that case.
right. Number two, I'm a true fan, bro. I need to see for myself. Like,
Right.
I don't trust anybody else's word. I mean, on this show here, we got the couch rating system, and somebody got to rate these movies. Somebody got to give it a couch rating.
Yes,
So
that's
being
why
a
I was
fan,
looking for
I'm always
you.
excited.
You and Leo.
I'm always excited, Sada. But if I'm let down, you definitely gonna know about it. Like
Okay.
seriously.
Okay.
But I'm always excited to see anything superhero, sci-fi. Like what was it? The Star Trek Picard. I thought season one
Mm.
was okay. It was borderline bad, but it was watchable. Season two was better. And I'm a
Yeah,
Trekkie.
that's true.
I'm a
So was
hardcore
rough.
Trekkie.
Right. I
Season two
tried to
was
watch it
was
the other day. I
was
can't.
yeah. Season one is kind of rough, bro. It really is. Even Star Trek: The Next Generation, season one and two was just like all over the place. I can't give I give those two seasons
How
one and
many
a half
couches?
couches out of five. One and a half couches out of five, sir. One and a half. And season three on out, phenomenal. 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 So I gotta see for
Yeah.
myself. So I just gotta see for myself. So, Ant-Man, 3.5 couches out of five. Black Panther, 4.5 couches out of five.
Oh
And I might
God.
watch that. And I might watch that again before I go to bed. But I'm just
Look,
saying.
he gonna watch it all week, every day this week,
Every day.
It's good, man. It's good.
every day next
Anybody
week.
out there? Matter of fact, people in the chat, what's your opinion on Black Panther Wakanda Forever? I thought it was good.
Look, by June you should have the whole script memorized. Come on the
Yeah.
show,
I
give
might.
us the whole script.
I might. I might. I might. I
Should
might.
do
I'm
it.
working on it now. I'm working on
See?
it now, Sada. I really am.
All right. I'm working
But
on the couch system right now. Hmm.
now Wakanda Forever was good, man. Uh, something else I discovered watching it. Like when I was telling y'all how I was wondering why the Telecanians turned uh blue when they were out of the water, but they were their regular color when they're in
Mm.
water. I noticed that. Um, the explanation, I remember Reno brought it up. The explanation of Namor being, now that I'm watching it, I'm really really watching it. I like the way that they did it. Um, had they did it any other way, it would have straight up been too much like Aquaman. Um, and I'm glad that they did it because if they hadn't done it like that, it would have literally been too confusing. And when you go through the lore, a Kukulkan Khan is the feather serpent, and he lives in water. So that's a real thing.
Hmm.
That's a real lore. That's a real lore that was made up. I mean, not made up, but that was a real lore that they adapted to the movie, and it worked. If you ever would see somebody like Namor and you didn't have an understanding of things, then that's what you were antiquated to him being, you know, the feather serpent Kukulkan. Khan.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and he also, when you think about it, and when you talk, when I did watch it, when the girl went and talked to the old lady, she had seen Namor before, and
Hmm.
you can assume that he had introduced himself to some of the people, of the islands or whatever, and they had seen him because he knew a lot about the surface world. Believe it or not, when you think about it, he knew a lot. Like he knew the
Yeah.
scientists. He knew a lot. So if you figured he was around, he was finding things out. Even when he swam in Wakanda, it was like, yo, how'd you get up in here? And he was like, don't
Hmm.
worry about that. He was like, but I got up in here though. Man, it's a phenomenal movie, man. Yeah, couch ratings out of five.
Yeah.
Black
Yeah.
Panther
We got
4.5.
blah
Four and a
blah.
half.
Yeah. I got to make a half a couch.
You gotta make a half count.
Yeah. We got to make a half a
Uh-oh.
couch. How can I make a half a couch? Hold on. Oh, I know what I could do. Here we go. Y'all just quietly watching me do this. Not watching me do anything.
Oh well, since we were talking about Black Panther, we can keep going. But yeah, Kukulkan is the feather serpent god, who came from the sky, the Sky Father. Yes, he did, Sada. And then he created the heart of heaven, people, which is the heart. And then we have the heart-shaped herb. The no love seed. Yeah, so Kukulkan was the god of wind and sky, and we know Namor can fly, and he has human worshippers, and I think that's where he gets a lot of his information from. He sends them out in the world to find things out for him, because there are people that have seen him, but they just don't talk about him. So, but I do have some questions. Though. Like as to
Black Panther questions.
Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, man.
Like what?
Yeah. Because we know in the comics that Namor told Thanos where one of the power, I mean not the power stones, the cosmic stones were on Earth. He told him it was one in Wakanda, and that's where the war between Wakanda and Atlantis. I wonder if they're gonna, play on that, because in the Avengers movie, how did they know that? How did they know where? Because Wakanda has a shield around it, and you can't really detect it. So how did they know where it was? And Namor knew where. He knew exactly where Wakanda. He swam in there, so he knew where it was. And a lot of people don't know where Wakanda is, just like they don't know where Talokan is. So you gotta have certain coordinates to get in there. And as far as the world is concerned, they think Wakanda is just a third world country with no resources until now. But if you haven't seen it, you don't know. And they still think it's a third world country, but it just has vibranium.
Right.
So that raises some questions for you, man. I like to wonder if
the questions.
Yeah, bro. And these come from watching Black Panther. So if you watch Black Panther, you will come up with these questions yourself.
Some questions that people have come up with are interesting. The Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is being accused of pushing transgender ideology by making Karen Gillan's Nebula look like a man.
Oh, they live in delusion, and that's really all there is to it.
Yeah. Right. The studio, the new poster came out, and I guess she's positioned, she's standing kind of like a dude, I guess, the way she's standing.
Nebula has literally always looked as she has always looked since the first Guardians film. We cannot have this conversation now. You're living in a delusion.
Well, you know who it is? It's that Nerdrotic guy, that Nerdrotic.
He's the
biggest racist. I mean, I don't know. He pretends like he's not a racist, but dude, he's racist as fuck.
He is.
Who's Neurotic? Who you talk? Who is this guy? I never heard of him.
Nerdrotic. Anything dealing with MCU, that's all neurotic. Anything that's like on the extreme scale of the MCU, that's neurotic.
Or the that he went nuts with the Lord of the Rings show. I mean, he day after day after day, every day.
I think. I know who you're talking about.
Yes, Lord of the Rings and how they've had black elves, black dwarves. Yeah, he wears glasses, got a beard.
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Big channel. I mean, he's got a big following. He's a big channel. I mean, people love him or whatever. But the people that follow him are the ones are usually the angry white males who are mad that they're not the only ones on the screen anymore, I guess. But being mad that there's black actors playing dwarves and elves just makes you look like a fucking idiot. I mean, how do you defend and not say you're a racist? I mean, I just don't. But anyway,
they say in Tolkien's books. I read an article back when Lord of the Rings was popping the TV show. They said in Tolkien's books that he did describe that he said that he never said that there weren't different shades of colors of elves and dwarves. He never said it. He never said it wasn't.
Yeah,
it's just that when you watch the shows, you just perceive that it's only one because that's all you see. But Tolkien himself was known. There was an interview where a guy said a guy was asking him that question about the different races and all. He said, listen, he said, there's not just one color person in the world. So obviously there's not going to be one. He said, if you read my books, you'll see that. But then the guy asked another question. He said, well, let me ask you a question. He said, why didn't they just get on those giant eagles, fly into Mordor and drop the ring in the daggone volcano and fly out? And they said Tolkien cussed him out and said, if I did that, then it wouldn't be a great story. And he called him all these obscenities and walked off the interview. I gotta find an article and send it to you. It was wild.
Yeah.
Bro.
I think it's Tolkien's son. Yeah. They're basically disguising their misogynistic, anti-feminist, racist rants with saying that it's that it's not following Tolkien's original. They disguise it with that's their problem, but yet every day the videos are named shit like or they're going woke and all of that. Like it's a whole thing against. And listen, we hate the woke fucking agenda bullshit as much as anybody, but I'm not gonna shape my whole channel around it. Like his whole channel, that's all it's about, is talking shit about the different, whatever, saying that they're woke this, woke that. It's like, cool, yeah, we know, but you're making your whole channel about it. It's like you're taking it kind of personal, bro. Like, why are you so defensive?
Let's be glad they got a place together. They can go there and vent.
Yeah, he said novelist, comic book creator, and YouTuber John De La Rose also addressed the poster and its depiction of Nebula, saying Hollywood doesn't allow you to enjoy beauty anymore. That's anti-feminist, misogynistic, man. And you're supposed to feel ashamed for actually going, wow, she's beautiful. And he continued, it's really weird because they used to talk about Puritanism, but the woke are so much more Puritan on things. Because at least in Christianity, you're not supposed to lust after something. Of course, there's a difference and there's a line. Then you look at the SJWs, you're not even supposed to look. You're not supposed to think anything's beautiful. Beauty is ugly to them. Ugly is beauty to them. And they try to warp everything on that level. And that's what we have going on right here. Highlighting the new poster in comparison to the original one from the first film. He says, now in the new poster, Guardians Volume 3, you see how they've changed Nebula to have the shape of a man. So you've got the frame that's very stock male, like a frame of a little boy. The breasts have been chopped off or restrained. The hips are gone, and she has no shape or something like that. And there's reason for this because now these days you're not just getting hit with the replacement characters of all white characters are now black or whatever. You're not getting hit with these little gay storylines. It's not enough anymore. It's 2023, guys. Let's get with it. The new fad is making sure men are women and women are men. It's the trans agenda, which is the most important thing, he explains. He goes on to reference Disney executives' numerous comments during their fight with the state of Florida over a bill that banned the teaching of sexual orientation and gender identity to the children in grades kindergarten through third. And former Disney CEO Bob Chapek made clear that the company would bypass laws like the one in the state of Florida, though through their programming. He said, because the struggle is much bigger than any one bill in any one state. I believe the best way for our company to bring about lasting change is through inspiring content we produce, the welcoming culture we create, and the diverse community organizations that we support. He elaborated that There's a reason content is at the top of this list. For nearly a century, our company's stories have opened minds, inspired dreams, shown the world both as it is and as we wish it could be, and now more than ever, represent the incredible diversity of our society. We are telling important stories, raising voices, and I believe changing hearts and minds, he added. Chapek later added, powerful content that changes hearts and minds only springs from inclusive cultures, which not only attract and retain the best and most diverse talent, but also give those employees the freedom to bring forth ideas that reflect their lives and experiences. And we must work together to ensure Disney always remains such a place. And then Della Rose states, they said that they were going to push even harder in their films to have a representation. And of course, they indoctrinate your kids with this kind of thing that show this kind of thing, this actually good and wholesome. And these are the real heroes, the people who are mentally ill that you're not allowed to say are mentally ill, referring to transgender people. And this is exactly what they're presenting with Guardians 3, he declares. It's so sad because this is one of the film franchise, like with Chris Pratt and all that you're like, wow, this was actually something I'm looking forward to for the whole other slate that they're putting out in 2023. He then said the first Guardians of the Galaxy film was so good and so entertaining that you'd hope that they'd just be getting back into their roots, trying to make a good film again and trying to appease audiences again. But no, they have to take one of the prettiest actresses in Hollywood and turn her into a caricature of a mutilated weirdo. That's it. That's all they want to do. They want to take away your happiness, and they want to take your fun away, and they want to make everything into this woke nightmare all day long.
What? Okay, let me just make sure I have this right. He garnered all of this from one poster about one character who has looked the exact same since she was introduced into the MCU. Okay,
yeah,
I just make sure. I just to make sure.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. Let me hold on. So somebody wants to see the poster. Let me show you the poster. All right.
Because I mean the way you would think they're all naked on the poster, and the females have dicks or something. I'm just so confused.
And the only character he picked out was Nebula. The only person he picked out was Nebula. Anybody?
I'll show you why. Let me show you here's the
please let me see this. Please let this be broke.
Wait, god damn it. I'm trying to get you two of them. All right, because
I definitely got to see this.
You got a comparison thing. All right, I know that the suspense is killing you. I'm sorry it takes so damn many clicks of different.
Take your time,
shit
sir. Take your
to
time.
Get this thing on here. Here we go.
We need a clear image. Take your time because we need a clear image.
All right, uploading now. So here's the poster. And there's Nebula off to the right, and standing there with her arm up, and she's got the tank top on. And I guess so. His his critique is, here she is over in the other movie, all looking, with shape and figure and looking very feminine and sexy. And then now they've got her looking basically like a square, dude. And he has a point. That's clearly he might have a point.
Yeah, I might have to back him up on this one. I might have to back him up.
Why? But
is that the official poster? That's the official poster.
Yeah, this is the
that poster sucks. Honestly, that whole poster, I don't like this poster at all.
Nebula, I think she even apologized for making such a weird stance. She formally apologized for having such a stupid pose. Why I think that was just a bad pose. I mean, we know how photography works. These photo shoots, they take hundreds of pictures, and then later they decide what pictures to use, and they put them all together. So they chose this among probably 100 photos. So that's weird. And it's like, why did they choose that photo? And are they trying to take the femininity away? And then you look at a picture like this, and you're like, well, there is something to that. But I can't say I agree with him totally in his whole full synopsis of everything. I mean, clearly he's gone way off the deep end with it. But listen, like I say, I mean, we're the same on this channel. We don't like all that. We don't want these gender diversity, race diversity, whatever agendas to overthrow a good story, or making the story make sense, or characters that make
Right,
sense.
overshadow a good story. Yes.
But with that said,
that's true.
it's awesome that we now have movies, shows written by people of color. Because listen, you can say what you want to say. The fact of the matter is, up until recently, it was always white men that wrote most of this shit, acted in most of this shit, starred in most of this shit, are promoted. You know what I'm saying? And we started to have Will Smith become the biggest superstar in the world as a black man. And that's when shit starts, you can start seeing changes, come from that. But I think now we're in a place where it's not needed to be so overbearingly pushed in our faces every 5 minutes, like in the what do you call it? Like in lieu of fucking a good story that makes sense,
Right.
So I mean, they have points, but to make my whole channel about it and constantly drone on about it, it's like, dude, you're telling on yourself, buddy.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of his videos when he was doing the Lord of the Rings ones. I watched a few of those.
Yeah,
but I haven't watched
yeah.
it since then. But he does. You're right. He does dive deep.
I had to watch because I wanted to see like what are they saying about it? What are they mad about? What are they really upset about? Are they just upset that there's black actors playing elves? I mean, that's a pretty fucking obvious, But what are they really saying? And then I notice what they do is they try to disguise it as it being based on the fact that it's not loyal to the content, but all they seem to talk about is this one thing. So it's like becomes obvious. But I think we're pretty honest on this channel. I try to be I mean, we try to we support everybody, and so I don't know. I just try to be honest, man, and tell it like it is. No agendas, no rhetoric.
That's all you can do, man. That's all you can do. You can't do much.
Just be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
How many couches? 1.5.
I was getting ready to say, give an honest couch opinion about the situation.
Right. But yeah, man. So that's our joint right there. It's 9 o'clock. We've been on for 2.5 hours. It's Monday. Hip hop and comics, y'all. Thank y'all for coming out, and God bless y'all. We come out here every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Saturday. For those of y'all that are new, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For now, we're doing these live shows, and that's what it is. March may bring some different shit. Me and Stu got some schedule issues, so we'll see how that goes. But for the most part, y'all already know we're gonna be in this week for sure. Wednesday and Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. And that's our joint. Peace.
Jeez.